I'm gaveling us in at 5:30 p.m. on May 1st for our PGUSD Board of Education regular meeting. And we're going to start with our land acknowledgement. Good evening. As we begin this meeting, it's important to pay respect to and acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Ohlone, Cosanoan, and Esselen people, and additionally pay respect to elders both past and present. I'll also just quickly mention as we go into the roll call vote that we're down to 3 trustees tonight at quorum. So that will be reflected in all of our minutes as well. But Dr. Adamson, I think you're up next.
Absolutely. President Dr. Hazen.
I'm here.
Clerk McNary here. Trustee Shamas
here.
And Trustee Wax is out of town. And we have another board member, Trustee Otmar, who is ill today. So yes, just 3 for quorum.
Excellent. And right now we have a adoption of the agenda on our agenda. So this is open for public comment, either here in the room or online. Okay, seeing none for discussion. Were there any comments or concerns on the agenda? Yeah, I don't think did we have a walk on?
I don't believe there's a walk on. Which item were you referring to, Trustee Shamas? It was just I think it was just a slight revision that was made to the actual contract to really take off any dates related to the 2 elementary schools. It wasn't an addition. It was already on the agenda.
It's
A revision.
A revision.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
We did make.
And the latest agenda is online with those changes.
Right.
Thank you.
So,
And thank you for, pointing that out, that was that error in there. So yes.
so with that, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we should adopt the agenda with the revision as discussed. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by myself and seconded by Trustee Shamas. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? If not, it passes 3-0. So I'll identify our closed session topics because the Board of Education will meet to consider matters appropriate for closed session in accordance with Education and Government Code. We have negotiations for for collective bargaining sessioning for the PGTA for 24-25, Government Code 3549.1, and then collective bargaining session planning and prep with the CSEA for 24-25, Government Code 3549.1, public employee discipline dismissal release leave complaint, Government Code 54957, and we have the exciting topic of superintendent goals and evaluations. With that, any public comment on these closed session items? Okay, seeing none, I will go ahead and adjourn us to closed session at 5:33. Gavel us back in at 6:31 p.m. And I will do a quick identification or a report of action taken in closed session. For item 1 on negotiations with PGTA, information was received. Nothing on item 2. Item 3, information was received. And for item 4, information was received. So with that, I will go to the Pledge of Allegiance and I will ask Trustee Powley to lead us. Thank you so much. We have a packed house tonight for those online. I'll just move to our next item where we have an exciting presentation by Miss Sally Richmond with the Breaker Bots.
Our coach for had was come today. He's in North Carolina for a wedding. I have my breaker box in the back corner and a chair in the seats as well, and we brought our robot.
Sorry.
Yes, I have to be on mic. Okay. I got our robot. We have a short video to show you summarizing our season, and then we're going to explain our robot. Thank you.
Started in 2013 by Coach Roby Hart. We have now reached the end of our 2025 build season, making this our 11th season participating in our varsity. Start, we were just a small group of people, but now we are a team of more than 30.
First Robotics Competition, also known as FRC, is an international high school robotics competition where teams like ours build robots to compete in a yearly game. Our build season runs from January to April, where we have 8 weeks to design and build a robot. Our team dedicates 25 hours a week to the robot, which shows our determination to win. During our 2025 build season, we earned the Judges Award at the Pinnacles Regional, the Gracious Professionalism Award at the San Francisco Regional, the Innovation and Control Award at the Contra Costa Regional, and we ranked 12 overall at all 3. During off-season, students learn transferable skills such as CAD, CNC, mechanical, electrical, and programming, building future STEM careers.
Throughout the years, the Breaker Bots have been involved with our community, from participating in and showing our school spirit at rallies and games to volunteering at the Big Sur Marathon every year.
We have inspired future innovators every year, and we hope to do so this year as well.
I have our team captain, co-captain Tommy Cohn to talk about the robot.
All right, so just a quick overview of our robot. We use our intake to pick up the game pieces from the ground, which is pretty rare. Only about 5% of teams did this year because it's quite challenging. Then we use the indexer to take the core from the intake to our end effector, and then we use our elevator to elevate to all the different heights and score on the levels, which is how you score points. One thing I will mention about our robot, fortunately, our head programmer can't be here, but he would want me to tell you that we use, oh, he is here. So 5 cameras on our robot, 4 of them can look at these things called QR codes around the field to automate all sorts of processes. And we use a 5th camera to look at the coral and use AI to like track the coral when it's on the ground to assist the human driver. All right, Aaron, take it away.
So now we're gonna give a quick, just short demonstration. So can we go ahead and enable the robot? A little bit of technical difficulty. You know, in the world of robotics, it happens.
Sure. Yeah, disconnecting.
Now. Wi-Fi like this doesn't say. We reflash. Yes.
No, it's the robot.
It was working the layer. Should we? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Turn it off and on. You know, for some reason, it takes an entire programmer to tell us to turn it off and on. You'd think that'd be number one, but. So while we're waiting for that, a big highlight is that it is only 8 weeks for us to build this from the ground up. We do not have any idea of what it's going to do until January, and in March, we are competing against some of the best of the best. In fact, we went up with the soon-to-be world champion. So, bingo.
Al, you come back after the public comment?
Doesn't even wait questions while we're waiting. We'll give it about 30 more seconds.
We good. Just need to make it time. They're really hard to leave the stage, and I was like, oh, we're doing this. All right. Can we go ahead and enable? All right, let's go ahead and intake. All right, takes it over here, and now can we bring it up to a couple levels? All right, let's go ahead, drop it. All right, let's do one more, just full cycle for anyone who missed the pictures. All right, go for it. L4. That's our robot this year. All right, let's go ahead and disable before this thing gets any ideas.
Under normal operation, it operates mostly autonomously, and in fact, our driver can mostly navigate
you ready?
pressing buttons, and it pathfinds its way around obstacles automatically.
Well, don't go anywhere. I'm going to ask all of our students to just remain in the room because we just want to do a little bit of acknowledgement. And first of all, just thank you, Ms. Richmond, for bringing the students forward and planning this and having them all, set the time aside. What a joy to see you all standing there in the back, sort of cheering your teammates on. I put down here as I was thinking about, just watching that video and everything I've heard about the competition and how you've all come together as a team to problem solve. And I think the three words that come to mind for me is, really what we've seen in action right here is innovation, teamwork, and problem solving skills. And there it was, right, in action. You couldn't have planned that better. But wow, I think, I was quite kind of joyful to hear that, what I do at home is when things don't work, I turn it on and off. And so good to know that even the professionals, right, that's something that you love it. I would like to just take a moment to acknowledge each of our students who have been a part of this team. I know not everyone could make it this night. We have certificates for each of you. We're going to ask you when I call your name to come up to the front. When I do call your name, just come up, stand at the front, and then we're going to do a little picture opportunity at the end. So the seniors on the team, even better. Oh my goodness. Well, that makes me sad as well, right? Because that means we're also saying goodbye to all of you. It's bittersweet, right? I think that's why I'm seeing many jerseys of, future colleges. So, all right. Well, wonderful to our seniors. What an amazing, I just want to say sort of a shining example that you are serving for, I think about our younger students in elementary and middle school, for them to really sort of see themselves, right? And see something of what could be. And that's what you're demonstrating for so many. And then, of course, for you as seniors, right? Just something that you're going to be taking on into your careers and adult life. So just wonderful to see. All right, I'm going to go ahead. There are a lot of names here. So if you're here, come on forward and I'll just sort of push any to the back that aren't here and give those to Miss Richmond to give it another time. All right, and again, let's excuse any mispronunciations. I'm going to do my best with that. Thomas Cohen. And just if we could keep the applause to the end, that way it'll just kind of keep everyone to come up to the front. Sorry, I failed to say that. Brooke Damalag, Daniel Ostavar, Serena Hunter. Congratulations. Ari Zunik. Yasser Alkalaf. I say that correctly, your last name? No? If I don't say it right, just whisper it in my ear when you're coming up to the front. Kieran Sherlock. Lux Witten. Roman Abramson. Congratulations. Congratulations. Sebastian Ruda Villamil. Aiden Kopiako. Hayden Allard. I'm sure I butchered that name. How do you say your last name? So much better when you say it. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. Aiden, yes, thank you. Thank you. And Hayden Allard, congratulations. Shushant Kondka. Oh no, I'm saying that one wrong. You're going to have to help me with that when you come up. Leah Grief. Say your name, please. Oh, it's beautiful. Leah Grief, Mint Riviera. Let's give them all a big round of applause. And of course, we have someone else who needs to join you at the front here, and that would be, of course, your fearless teacher, right, who leads through all of this. So, Miss Richmond, thank you. So these are our Culture of We certificates. It's something that, we really have committed to starting each of our board meetings with every month this year. And really, this is our opportunity to showcase incredible programs, the incredible students that form a part and help us build our culture of we. And so thank you for not only representing and sort of putting in place and showcasing what that means for us, but also in everything that you're doing, you're also really showcasing our 3 core values of belonging, safety, and prosperity. So thank you to each of you. Another big round of applause for each of them. I'm going to ask our board to please come up to the front for a photo opportunity. And then I think it would be fitting as well to have the rest of the team up at the front as well, right? So maybe we can all come in the front and sort of maybe kneel down. And the board, if you could please join me, and student representative William Powley as well. Right. Well, thank you very much. You're awesome. You're awesome.
So our next item is the Association of California School Administrators, and we're going to invite Principal O'Meara up to the front to present on this. You're up, Mr. O'Meara. Yeah, Principal O'Meara.
Principal O'Meara, are you introducing? Yes, yes.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Greg O'Meara, Pacific Grove High School and Pacific Grove Community High School principal. And we are here tonight to honor a very special young man. But just to give you a little bit of background, the Association of California School Administrators, or ACSA, supports educational leaders in California through professional development, advocacy, and networking. It is divided into 19 geographical regions, which span Monterey, San Benito, and Santa Cruz counties. As you can imagine, this area is home to thousands of students in grades K through 12. The ACSA Every Student Succeeding Award annually nominates students from each geographical region who have overcome exceptional challenges and have achieved academic and personal success. It celebrates resilience, determination, and the positive impact of educators and school staff in supporting student growth. This year's recipient of the ACSA Region 10 Every Student Succeeding Award is Community High School senior Anthony Garcia Trinidad. Come on up, Anthony. Yes. Just want to make sure my microphone's still on. Just keep you up here for a few minutes. To help recognize this year's recipient of the ACSA Region 10 Every Student Succeeding Award, I'd like to welcome Sherry Dieter, lead teacher at Community High School.
And I am also joined by our district mental health therapist, Audrey Cordova, who's going to provide simultaneous translation for this award this evening. I'm very proud to be here on behalf of Community High School to welcome Tony and his mother and honor him for this very special award.
Estamos
muy orgullosos poder honorar a usted, mamá de Tony, y a Tony. Nuestros estudiantes a veces llegan a nuestra escuela sin una actitud donde se sienten que el sistema de educación los apoya. So that's okay. No, she jumped in at the last minute on this, so this is completely unscripted. All right. Our students often arrive at community high school credit deficient and sometimes a little down on education, right? Tony gradually gained a lot of confidence, overcame a variety of obstacles, and is now one of our highest achievers at school. Tony ha superado una variedad de retos y ahora es uno de nuestros estudiantes que ha tenido más éxito. Actually, I'll say this one. Yeah, and we know he's going to be successful in all of his future endeavors after graduation. Y con toda la confianza sentimos tanto en nuestro corazón que Tony en lo que vaya a hacer va a seguir teniendo mucho éxito. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
So I'd like to add that Anthony will be deservedly recognized at 2 upcoming AXA events. Tomorrow evening at the 2025 AXA Administrators Award Dinner, or commonly called Spring Fling. And it will be at the Monterey Beach Hotel, a nice dinner. And as I've shared with Tony earlier, I think he'll be very pleased with what he receives. Also at the 2025 AXA Leadership Summit in San Francisco on November 6th to 2025 in San Francisco. His family and he will be invited to a luncheon and an overnight stay in San Francisco, which we are really, really psyched about. So again, please join us in congratulating Tony.
I just have a few more words and then we have a certificate we'd like to present to you as well, Tony. But I've only known you for maybe the last year, and I just want to say what a joy it's been getting to know you better and getting to work with you. A story I want to share about Tony is one day when I'd visited the classroom, he and Felix were sort of in a closed room and on the campus, and they were working on creating music and putting these amazing musical sort of soundtracks together. And I remember walking in and Miss Deidre had sort of said to me, oh, you need to go in and see what they're doing and ask questions. And I did. I walked in and they were so welcoming, first of all. But I was amazed by the passion, amazed by, there was just sort of a light beaming from your face when you talked about what you were doing and what you were creating. And really, I walked away from that with just this sense of, wow, what number one, an individual, and how beautiful at the age you are, Tony, to have such a passion about something that you clearly are good at. And he was able to explain to me in using, words that I was able to understand about using that technology, right? How you were putting that together. And that's a gift as well, right? Being able to really kind of articulate what you're doing. But I think the words that come to mind for me right now in recognition of this award for you are honestly perseverance, unwavering determination, and your ability to grow and clearly thrive in the face of hardship. And so, Tony, I'm just absolutely honored to know you, honored to know that you've been a part of our community. Don't ever underestimate the impact that you have on the students that you have really gotten to know and connect with this year. And I'm just excited to see where your future lies, because you are in for amazing things. So please, it is my honor to be able to present to you this certificate of our culture of we and excellence to present to you, Tony. Congratulations. Once again, I'd love for a photo opportunity if we could have Tony's mom, the board, Ms. Dieter, Mrs. Cordova, Principal Emil up at the front, so we can take a photo together.
We'll see you tomorrow night, Tony.
Thank you so much. Congrats, Tony, and back to you, Dr. Adamson.
We have one more presentation that we are going to do before we begin our official agenda. And this tonight is again, just another privilege. I think this is one of the favorite things that I get to do in my position, is really to acknowledge the incredible achievements and success of our students. And it is my privilege to take a moment tonight to talk about three incredible students. One who you see sitting before you, who has been serving as our official student board representative this year in his capacity as student board president. And I think I remember too that first day, I think it was almost a year ago, where you came in and shadowed our outgoing president, William, to really get a taste of what the year was going to offer you. And I've just been so impressed with what you've been able to accomplish and how you've carried yourself. So I've got a few things I want to say. We have two additional students who I believe are here with us this evening, who have also served as alternates. And so I'm really going to speak a little bit about all of them. So just bear with me. So William Powell, as I've said, he has been served in that the official position as our president for this year. But also we have Grace Sauser and Juliet Gorman, who have stepped in on multiple occasions this year to serve as alternates. Because as you can imagine, the schedule of a senior is incredibly busy when they not only have their schoolwork and academics, but also many of them have additional sports and volunteering sort of aspects that they, add to their busy schedules. And then of course, just, living the life of a senior as well. So, Grace and Juliet, you stepped in at the last minute very often, just to sort of come in, often was within a day's notice to, really join us, for a board meeting. So I really just want to say thank you to all three of you for your service. You've each represented your peers with thoughtfulness, with poise and integrity. Your articulate reports that you present to us, that we'll be hearing shortly from William as well, your consistent presence, your ability to highlight not just the celebrations that are happening on campus, but also the perspectives and needs of the students that you represent. All of this has made your voices invaluable. You've reminded me, you've reminded us as we sit here at the dais, time and time again, of the most important perspective in every decision that we make, that of our students. This year has definitely not been without its challenges, as is any year. I think when you serve on a board, you get to see a little bit behind that curtain. And so you've had a front row seat, during some maybe intense and emotionally charged conversations that we've had as a district, which is part of that process. It's about listening to our community. And yet throughout it all, you've remained grounded, respectful, and incredibly thoughtful. Your courage to speak with honesty and compassion, especially during moments of conflict, has helped guide our work and refocus our purpose. Student governance, when I think about that term, it's an important part of leadership. And I hope that this experience for all three of you has inspired you, has challenged you, and equipped you with the tools that you can carry into your future endeavors. Each one of you are incredible leaders. And once again, as I said about Tony, I look forward to seeing what your futures hold, because you are all going to do incredible things. And I know I speak for many on how privileged I am to have been able to get to know you better this year and really get to get a sense of what you're all about and the people that you are. So to each of you, I say congratulations on your next endeavors. I'd asked William when we were preparing and going over the agenda for today, really a little bit about, number one, his college and, where his future is going to be headed. So I'd like to start by congratulating you. As you can see, he's sporting the shirt as he sits there, BYU. And so congratulations for that. Let's put our hands together for William specifically on that one.
And then Grace and Juliet, he had shared with me where your futures are lying. So Grace, I hear you are heading down to sunny San Diego, right, for UCSD. So congratulations to you. And then Juliet, I'm hearing Chapman University is going to be lucky to have you. What a wonderful place for you to grow. How lucky they are. Just as a fun fact, Chapman Chapel is where I got married. So, I know that area really, really well. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. So again, thank you to each of you for your service. You've made a difference. And you leave behind a legacy of student voice, leadership, and heart. And we are so grateful for you, so grateful to have known you, and grateful for the impact that you've had on all of us here. I'm going to ask each of them, when I call up your name, to please come up. And I'm going to start with William because we have an official plaque for him in your official service and a certificate. So let's put our hands together, please, for William Powley. And then I have certificates for our two students who've served as our alternates this year. First of all, Juliet Sauser. And Grace Gorman. I can invite our board to the front with the girl of the game. The rest. Oh, this is for them. There is our future. Congratulations again. Thank you all so much.
A lot of fun presentations to start with. We are now going to move into, and I can go back 2 pages as I was taking notes, our section 4, communications portion of the agenda. And we get to hear first from our student trustee, Powley, on his comments and updates.
Yeah, so I'm just going to talk about a little about what's happening at the community high school and then also the high school. So at the community high school, there's been a lot of work being done on the garden, and so far they've just started on above ground planter beds, which were just assembled, and then they're just getting started. And then we're also looking forward to having those being improved and more things being added to the garden next fall when school starts. And then also at the high school, the Spring Sports Spirit Week is going on, and also in preparation for prom, which is this Saturday. So I know a lot of students are excited for the activities that are happening this week, and then for also prom on Saturday. And then on the library, kind of on one of the windows on the sections of the library, we've had all of like the college decisions of a lot of our seniors who have responded to a survey. So it's just been so awesome to see that all of the diverse colleges that people are going to, and then also some of the colleges that students might be going to together, and then we can get to spend more time with each other after high school. And then we've been doing really good in spring sports. I know our lacrosse team just beat Monterey, who is at the top of the league. And so they're doing really well in their league right now. And then also on Wednesday, May 14th, we have our senior awards night. And then on May 30th is our graduation. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to the board member comments and written communications. I'm going to go first because it was a busy email week. So I will go over those first and then have some comments and then we'll just go down the line. I received, I think, 16 emails if I counted correctly. And then in addition, 3 letters on concerns about TK enrollment date and sites for both TK and kindergarten, an email on student voter registration, an email on aquarium tanks for the high school, a discussion taking place on solving homelessness in our county, a request from Monterey County Department of Ed on superintendent review training, 2 emails regarding the beginner music program, and then 4 emails regarding the Percy Jackson play at the high school and thanking the district. Just a reminder that's happening again this weekend. I also just wanted to say quickly, I was really meant a lot. It was important to hear from so many parents and community members who care deeply about issues such as maintaining their neighborhood school. And I really do want to acknowledge and appreciate those heartfelt concerns. The sense of connection, identity, and history that comes with our neighborhood schools is powerful. And I do recognize the importance that families place on preserving that. And I assure everyone that the board does not take these decisions lightly. And we as a governance team plan on exploring all creative ideas. At the same time, I felt it was important to emphasize the critical care we need to take, how we communicate about our sites surrounding these issues. When the language becomes divisive, even unintentionally, it helps erode the very sense of community, the culture of we that we're trying to instill. Both of our elementary schools play an equally vital role in shaping the future of our district, nurturing not just academic skills, but a spirit of belonging and shared purpose. Whether it's events like the Falcon Fest, the Butterfly Bazaar, the Ocean Guardians program, or the Robert Down Campout, these schools reflect our collective investment in the success of all children, and both of the sites have so much to be proud of. I urge us to recognize that while it's okay to advocate for what matters most to us, it's critically important to do so in a way that unites rather than divides. So please recognize our strength as a board and a district lies in coming together, even when we disagree, supporting all of our students, all of our school sites, and all of our families. And I just wanted to end quickly by reading a short excerpt of PG Middle School 8th grader Lily Cervantes' speech from the Tuesday night PGMS Honors Night. At PGMS, kindness is all around us. They might not always be the loudest in the room, but they're the ones who sit beside you when you're alone at lunch. They're the ones who ask, "Are you okay?" when you're quiet. They cheer you on when no one is watching. They are the proof that kindness isn't always loud, but it is powerful. So with that, I will go ahead and pass it on to the board, rest of the board.
Thank you. And thank you for your words about our wonderful elementary schools as well. I have a couple additional written communications. A thank you from Ms. Costalis regarding screens being installed in room 32. There were birds that were getting stuck in there, and the students and teacher wrote us an email and we had a resolution. So that was really great. I appreciate them advocating. And we also, as a board, I think, got an invitation to Falcon Fest, which is upcoming at the end of this month. Those are my written comms. Board member comments. I had the opportunity to attend a training put on by California School Board Association this week on Tuesday. It was up in Sacramento, and it was the first time they've done a training on, this may not sound exciting to most people, but it is complaint procedures in the education system. And just thank you. No, but anyways, just I think I learned a lot. I'm still gonna download it with Dr. Adamson, but so much opportunity for us to refine our procedures and look into policy around our timelines and just to make a better experience for the people who are running the investigations and also the people who are filing complaints, because everybody deserves to have the systems followed every time. And I also got to visit my parents. It's always just interesting. I don't know, as I get older, to go back and see where I grew up, and I didn't go to public school until high school. So this is just so wonderful to watch things like the Breaker Bots and our students engaged in so many ways. One more thing I wanted to highlight. So thank you for providing me with that opportunity. The Lightning Thief is going to be at the high school again this weekend. That's their drama presentation, and that'll be on Friday and Saturday, and then closing day is Sunday afternoon. So if you're looking for something to do, it would be really awesome to support them. And today marks May 1st, which is like what I'm learning is we call it the year of May in education because it's like practically a year, but it's only 1 month. So I think it's also fitting that it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I just wanted to draw attention to that and remind us all to take care of ourselves the best we can during this busy and exciting time.
Thank you. Very well said. And Trustee Schmass.
Yep. I got the same communications that the rest of you did. I just want, Elliot and I, and you, did you go to middle school honors night? Oh, Elliot and I were at the middle school honors night, and it was quite, impressive because the student speeches were, you know, kind of like beyond their years. Like you just, like that was not me in 6th grade, but it was amazing. So congratulations to Principal Roach and Vice Principal Tavani and all the teachers and staff, because you did that, and the parents as well. Also, congratulations to Sally Richmond on the Breaker Bots, because she has grown that program to that level. It's amazing. I remember when it was just starting, and now I think they have it at the middle school too, or they're going to. And so it's obviously filling a need. And then for the community high school to have a student be honored like that, what it made me think of was over the years, the district has been criticized for funding a community high school because it's such a small amount of students that we get there. And we've always defended it. We've always supported it. And here's why. Like, that's so cool. Thank you for your work. And that's it. Oh, wait a minute. And congratulations to you, William. You've been, what I'd like to hear from you is, and I think I asked you about this before, but give us an evaluation of what you think would be better for the incoming student reps. Something that, you know, you notice that we aren't aware of that would make it better for a student rep. So thank you for your service.
Thank you so much, Trustee Schmass. And now we're on to item 4C, the superintendent report. Dr. Adamson.
Thank you. Wonderful. So just there's a lot to report out. So I really had to kind of identify and just narrow it down to a few things. But I always like to start out with celebrations and just, you know, many of my school site visits that I've attended. And so under that, I have, you know, sort of 4 highlights. I think the first being I had the pleasure to attend both Robert Down and Forest Grove open houses last week. And wow, just, you know, it's always, you know, as a former teacher and principal myself, you know, that is just a night you get to just showcase everything and all the amazing work of the students. And I also know what a lot of, you know, it's a lot of work from the staff and the teachers. I look back to Principal Arbrun and Principal Brownfield at the back there and just thank you for, you know, just accommodating and putting that evening on and really giving that chance for our students to shine. It was just a vibrant evening, just worthy of so much celebration. I did actually go get to watch the Lightning Thief production put on by Ms. Bulwer last weekend. I was able to be there Friday night. And again, every time I get to see our students in action, I leave in awe at the amount of talent that they have. I just always think, you know, if I could have had just an ounce of that at that age and, you know, the courage that they have, their singing abilities, it's amazing. But what really stood out to me was the story, you know, behind the Lightning Thief and, you know, just that whole sense of of, turning weaknesses into strength, and kind of it really highlights and identifies that unique piece of, what makes us all so different, and taking those and highlighting those differences that, really make us who we are. But, the story itself highlights how, just people come together, in using that as a strength. So again, just amazing. If you have an opportunity, there are several more performances this coming weekend to check that out. So again, congratulations to the students. Incredible. I too got to attend PG Middle School's 8th grade honors night. And so thank you, Principal Roach and Assistant Principal Tavani. What an evening. You've heard already from, several trustees. I just want to, we had 3 student speakers that evening, and, President Hazen, already mentioned one, but Noah, Grace, and Lily, each of them sort of had reflections and highlighted stories about growth and perseverance, turning failure into success, and then the impact of kindness. We were also so impressed with the MC that evening, Nico Brockmeyer. Again, just, it's amazing at this age, you see, the students and their ability to articulate and stand up in a packed auditorium of adults, and just, truly show what they're, capable of. So just amazing to see our students shine again. And I did want to end with that one. Miss Torres really always shares a poem that she creates together with her 8th graders each year. So this is a tradition. I've now heard my 2nd one, and I look forward to many more. But, she always talks about it being funny, heartfelt, and moving. And I think that the last few lines of that poem are what I want to leave you with on this particular item. But the students, came out with all of the individual memories, right, of their past 3 years at the middle school. But this stood out to me. Kids who know the meaning of family, kids who are destined to rise like the tide and make the world their stage. And that truly was very much on, that was being showcased that evening as they're all ready to, step into that next journey of their careers to the high school. But just amazing to see how much they've accomplished, so much to be proud of. And in my last visit, I was able to visit again Community High School yesterday, and Ms. Dieter had invited me and Principal Amira to attend one of their SEL activities. And usually that entails having a community visitor, come and speak to the students. Yesterday happened to be Chief of Police for Seaside, Chief Nick Borges, and I got to really sort of sit in and listen to him share his story and really talk about, the adversity that he experienced and in his youth. And really the overall, the resounding message he was able to give to the students was how don't let your past define, who you are. And that message was just so unbelievably timely and so well received. It was unbelievable to see the students just completely engaged you could tell by the questions they were asking how strongly, that message resonated with them. And it's interesting because, it all finished and he left, and I had, 2 students sort of reach out to me, just kind of got into a conversation. And in that moment, it was it turned into sort of a half-hour discussion of, they're just sort of sharing, what that meant to them, in that time. And so again, we talk about our community high school, the incredible opportunity we give to those students. But, just hearing from adults, hearing about their stories, I think that's such an important component that we are able to make available, to our students who, may be struggling and worried, about, what the future lies and holds for them. So again, that was just amazing to be a part of. 2 upcoming events I just want to make everyone aware of on May 10th, so not this weekend, but the following, we're going to be hosting the Mission Trail Junior Athletic League Championship meet at the PG High School. Specifically, this is, highlighting our PG Middle School students, but special thanks to coaches Travael and Amslow for leading this incredible, coming together of, I think it's almost up to 15 schools who'll be there for that day. So if you are available 1 p.m., on May 10th to join me there in cheering our students on. And then tomorrow evening, we also have at the PG Arts Center, Mr. Matt Kelly, our high school art teacher, will be showcasing some of our incredible high school students' artwork. So if you have time tomorrow on the first Friday in Pacific Grove to really go and enjoy the artwork, I unfortunately will not be able to be there. I will be at the AXA Administrator and Student of the Year Award. But again, just special thanks to Mr. Kelly for continuing to showcase our students' incredible abilities and talents. And then finally, tomorrow is School Food Hero Day, right? That is something to be important of. So really thinking about all of our nutritional services, employees, and the incredible role that they play in, we talk about our 3 core values. And, I think of, the ability to be able to ensure that all of our students are fed, that they have a safe place and people, that they know that they can go to each day, that, safety, belonging and prosperity, right? They all come to mind. And this is an opportunity for us to highlight and give thanks to that incredible group of employees. And then, as I've already said, my last one here, we have the AXA Administrator Award tomorrow evening. We will actually be honoring our very own, Chief Roderman tomorrow night. So we'll be bringing that back at a future board meeting, but I'm very honored to, be able to recognize him for his incredible service and dedication to our district over the years. And that really is it for me, other than I know the next few weeks are going to be busy, graduations, promotions, end of year events, and I look forward to seeing, all of you and just celebrating our students at all of them. So with that, I turn it back to you, President Hazen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And do we have a safety report this time?
Very quickly, I will just be stepping in for Assistant Sweep John. We have just a quick update on vape sensors at the high school. I know that this has been, an area of that has been raised of concern by both students and parents at Principal Amira's recent Parent Advisory Council and Student Council. We have ordered them and they will be installed as soon as they arrive. So we're looking at that within the next few weeks. Another little piece of information, the instructional continuity plan requirement, SB 153, has had a recent update. And part of that now requires all of our school districts and county offices of education to adopt what they are referring to as an instructional continuity plan that requires each of our schools to update our school safety plans to ensure that students have continued access to instruction during emergencies or natural disasters. So, I think of that along the lines of this is as a direct result, we think of COVID, when schools really had to go into that immediate step of emergency online learning. So this is now a requirement ensuring that every school has a plan in the event of any possible, emergency such as that. So we'll be bringing those updates back to the board before the end of June. I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. And then we have our final safety committee meeting scheduled for May 22nd from 5 to 7 p.m. coming up in the month of May. So we are just really appreciative of everyone who serves on that committee. We have representatives from every single school site. So grateful to Principal Martinez, who really leads and is our fearless leader in, really making sure we're having those conversations and continuing to gather community input and voice from our students, from our families, and from our staff as well. So we'll have lots to update at that time as well. And that's really it in the means of safety. Thank you.
So that wraps up the item 4 on the agenda, and we're now to the section on individuals desiring to address the board. And I have a few quick things to read on this. I wanted to mention as we begin public comment, I want to take a moment to emphasize the commitment to fostering a safe, respectful, and inclusive space where every voice is heard and valued. So please, all attendees, refrain from applause, finger clicking, or any form of acknowledgement, whether in support or disagreement with a speaker's viewpoint. And this is important because by maintaining a neutral and respectful environment, we ensure that everybody feels safe and confident in sharing their perspectives. And then one more quick thing I wanted to read is that in case it was missed, Dr. Adamson and myself sent out a letter on behalf of the district explaining some of the details and decision-making points behind TK at the district. And there's a copy of that letter for anyone that hasn't seen it on the edge of the dais there. So with that, I will read our public comment statement. So public comment on any item of interest to the public that is within the board's jurisdiction will be heard. The board will also take public comment on each specific action item prior to board action on each item. Any individual wishing to comment on a specific agenda item are kindly asked to wait until that item is being discussed. The board will allow a reasonable amount of time for public comment on each agenda item, not to exceed 3 minutes per speaker and no more than 20 minutes per agenda item pursuant to Board Policy 9323. Speakers will be called sequentially, one online, one in the room, until there's no speaker coming forward on the agenda item or the amount of time allocated for the agenda item is elapsed, whichever comes first. It's also very important to note this is a meeting of the Board of Education, which is a business meeting of the board conducted in public. So please note that the Brown Act limits the board's ability to respond to any public comment. The board may choose to direct items to the administration for action or place an item on a future agenda. So with that, we will open up for community members on non-agenda items. Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Ruby Browning. I'm a junior at Pacific Grove High School, and I am here to represent the Youth Ambassadors of Pacific Grove. But before I get started, I wanted to let my other members introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Avery Smith. I'm a ninth grader at Pacific Grove High School, and this is my first year with the Youth Ambassadors.
Hello, my name is Brianne Sabdo. I'm a sophomore, and this is my first year as a Youth Ambassador.
Hi, my name is Melissa Wang, and I'm a sophomore at Pacific Grove High School, and this is also my first year.
So these are some of our newest members of the Youth Ambassadors. This is my second year. I'm a returning member. And for those of you who don't know or who are vaguely aware of us, we are a local organization of high school students. We organize, plan, and work on our social skills and public speaking skills through the events that we put on through our community. And we wanted to bring your attention to one of our upcoming events on May 17th, which is a Saturday, I believe. It's called our Sip and Savor Soiree. There will be food and drinks and a silent auction that we are holding. And we want to encourage all of you to, the board members and the public, to buy your tickets as quickly as possible because they are going up next week, I believe. If you have any more questions or want any more information, we will be at Good Old Days. We have a booth at Good Old Days Saturday and Sunday, rain or shine. I know there's a chance of rain, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comments. Awesome. Okay, next we have someone here in the room. Yep, please.
Hi, I'm Taylor Moulton. I'm here with a group of families who are asking you to please make transitional kindergarten available to every child in our community and to please keep the teaching staff needed so that all children may enroll in their nearby school. Specifically about the universal TK access, I watched Dr. Hackquist describe California's UTK policy last month, which really recognized the value of equal access to early education and is intended to entitle every child to a 14th year of public school. At the end of that presentation, the district suggested that we have not been able to budget for UTK, even though we've known about this coming for years. And so the district recommended that we make the most fiscally responsible decision and oppose UTK in favor of a policy in which we deny equal access to TK to the youngest 25% of children in each grade cohort. In other words, every child is supposed to be eligible to receive 14 years of public school now, but because we have a budget problem, we are going to solve that problem by saying that the youngest kids in each grade cohort are only eligible to go to public school for 13 years, even though everyone else will get 14. We all received the district email last week taking offense to the term discrimination used to describe the proposed policy. I may not be an expert in law to know if the policy meets the legal definition of discrimination. It is entirely possible that the district is proposing something that is lawful but awful. However, I do know what is fair and unfair. The district proposed denying access to a free public service to a class of children based entirely on their age. If PGUSD intends to save money in this way, the district should be just as interested in saving even more money by rationing services even further for those students with summer birthdays. The board could consider denying those same students when they are eventually allowed to go to school as kinders and beyond, with the opportunity to take art classes, or maybe they shouldn't be allowed to use school computers and tablets, go on field trips to the aquarium, or go on any field trip for that matter, participate in school sports, have access to free school lunch. Or, just as the district would deny the opportunity for students to go to TK because they are the youngest in their cohorts, the district should be equally willing to deny students with September, October, or November birthdays the opportunity to go to 12th grade because they are the oldest in their cohorts. You see what I'm saying? Please prioritize universal TK.
Thank you so much for your comments. Do we have anyone online that their hand up? Not online, please.
Hello, my name is Christina Stillwell. I'm here in solidarity with these other parents, and my concerns are the same. I speak to you as a concerned mother with children who attend Robert Down Elementary, one of whom who also did not get to appreciate TK, a proud member of the PG community, and a pediatrician. I've dedicated my life to take care of the youngest children in our population, and I'm here tonight to advocate for the youngest children in each grade level here in PG that have birthdays that just so happen to land between June 2nd and September 1st. And are in danger of not being offered TK this year despite years of being told they would. Studies have shown that children that received a year of TK have improved academic skills and superior engagement in kindergarten as compared to those who didn't have TK. Additionally, research shows that the enrollment of 4-year-olds into TK leads to earlier identification of those previously undiagnosed children with speech delays or autism spectrum disorders, for whom early diagnosis, intervention, and implementation of therapies is crucial for the formative progress and their overall success. TK aids in this. When these summer birthday kids start kindergarten without having been in TK, they're not as engaged and not as prepared for kindergarten as these grade match peers who just had TK, but their age difference from the youngest to oldest to the kid is up to 20% of their age at their 5th birthday. And this leads to significant difference in maturity, self-confidence, and social emotional skills. With that being said, not surprisingly, ADHD diagnoses are much higher in these kids than in their older grade match peers. And what's even more concerning is that research reveals that these younger children are at an increased risk of substance abuse later in life, decreased involvement in school leadership positions in high school, decreased rates of university enrollment, and lower overall earning potential than the older kids in each grade level. So given these pre-existing challenges that these young children in each grade face, we need to do everything we can to optimize their success and not exacerbate the discrepancy by excluding them from an entire year of valuable public education. We need to prioritize the equitable foundation of education for our youngest children with the aim to minimize the need to mitigate problems for these children down the line as they age. Please do not make the youngest of our children bear the full brunt of this district's financial woes. These families had been expecting their children to be in TK this August until something dramatically changed with our budget this year. Ideally, you are able to retain these wonderful teachers and give all children a full TK experience for all 4-year-olds in this district. But whatever you do decide, please choose a TK option that is equitable for children, regardless of their birthday. We are all here in PG because we love this community and we love our schools. Please don't let us down. Thank you for listening and thank you for our service to this community and for our children.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, no one in line, please. If there's anyone else like to speak in the room.
Hello, my name is Jess Morris. I'm here in solidarity and my concerns are the same. I also request an immediate change to the language on the pre-registration website to clearly welcome all children turning 4 by September 2nd, followed by a district-wide email. It is imperative that you extend TK eligibility now because May is too late. Families have budgeted their lives on the promise of universal pre-kindergarten or UPK. The board knew, and the PGUSD district knew, of its limitations as a basic aid district. Your budget and your expansion of UPK were foreseeable challenges. On the contrary, nobody would have imagined that PGUSD would not maintain its commitment to UPK. In your April 25th letter, you focus on fiscal impacts and offer up preschool as a meaningful substitute. Yes, the fiscal impacts on the families unjustly being left out should most critically impact the board's final decision. It is too big of a fiscal, social, and mental burden to deny this public service so late. It undercuts childcare, employability, family living, and family planning. Some families are likely still unaware that their child's eligibility is in question. It is unfair to send them scrambling to rearrange the most important life choices. Families have already given up coveted spots in their preferred preschools. They decided that TK is the best option for their child. In fact, preschool no longer suffices. There is no alternative to free, 5-hour-long, age-specific educational instruction, inclusive of in-house elective exposure and meals, all embedded in the community institution which will serve our family for the next 7+ years. You have a wonderful TK program, successfully leveling up kinder readiness. Our children experience high quality and developmentally appropriate learning, which progressively increases their stamina for the public school environment. And the board and the PGUSD district is undermining its own success by making kinder and TK the focus of budgetary constraints. Please don't chip away at the new foundation of our public school experience. Right as we are building it, in confusion and distaste, PG families are turning away from public education. We cannot afford to lose their participation in our most foundational community building institution. I urge you to value and uphold your promise. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else in the room or online? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katrina Fisher. I'm relatively new to Pacific Grove. I think that one of the reasons that parents are so frustrated is because when I moved here, I thought I moved for the school district and we pay a premium to live in Pacific Grove. And my son's a very late summer birthday who won't have the ability to go to TK. I'll have to put him in preschool. You'll hear about all the issues. I think you guys are already aware. But one of the things that people, honestly, parents are talking about in Pacific Grove, if you go to the playgrounds, is why is the school district in such a deficit? Why are we so financially strapped, right? We get a lot of money from property taxes, which have gone up. I know I paid a ton of money for my house as opposed to buying in Monterey and going to public school. Bonds have been passed, right, that have provided money for STEM education and renovations. So parents are frustrated because we keep hearing that there's no money in this school district, but it doesn't really make sense why. And I know there's a lot of nuances to it. It feels like the other parents have said that a very vulnerable group of kids is not being prioritized. I love hearing about all these cool things that you guys are doing in this community, and I want my son to be a part of it. He's already going to be disadvantaged by missing out on this program, and then he's going to join an established class. He hasn't had that year of education, and he's going to be a year behind. It's not just an issue of TK, really. It's an issue that parents are talking about across various ages of where is the money going. We hear teachers are being laid off, class sizes are increasing, there's programs being cut. I don't understand why this is the only school district on the peninsula that cannot prepare for this state mandate. I know there's basic aid limitations, but we're a basic aid district because we get more money, right, than if we were not a basic aid district. That's, from my understanding, why we are. So I understand the budget has probably already been set, more or less, but if there is any room for flexibility in trying to get these little guys in, we would all really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your comments. Much appreciated. Okay, no one online? Yep, next person in the room. Thank you for.
Hi, my name is Alia Hokasing. I work full-time as the Director of Community Relations and Outreach for STARS Therapy Services. I'm also a mom of 2 children in the district, and I myself graduated from PG High. For the past 2 years on Fridays, you can find me volunteer teaching art in my daughter's classroom. I know what a special place PG is and how important our schools are to the entire community. And this is why we're here tonight. I would like to specifically speak about class size. The average class size district-wide for grades was 20.7 in the 23 to 24 school year. The contractual maximum for teachers is 27, and we all know our youngest learners take a lot of attention and skill in the classroom. Developmentally, 4- and 5-year-olds should focus on play-based learning, be active and be outside. This, of course, takes more physical energy from teachers. 4- to 5-year-olds also need co-regulatory social emotional learning as well. That means a one-on-one connection with a trusted teacher when times get tough. Excuse me. With maxed out classrooms, we are placing this burden on teachers and making students suffer. I understand the district is having budget issues, but our youngest and most developmentally immature students, the children who will have their first ever school experience, be placed where you're going to cut teachers. This decision impacts both schools, Forest Grove and Robert Down. Overall enrollment is down, but we are set to have increased class sizes, all while receiving more tax money than ever before. Let's remember why we're all here, for our children and to provide them with the best education possible. Please keep class size in the front of your mind when making decisions after this meeting. TK and kindergarten experiences have lifelong effects on how children perform for the rest of their lives. So please, this falls on us. Let's find a solution.
Thank you very much for your comments. Do we have any more people in the room or online? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Van Zanten, and I'm here tonight to ask you to rehire the teachers that we need to allow all of our students to attend transitional kindergarten as well as their neighborhood schools. Those two issues are intertwined because if your child doesn't have a seat in TK, as mine did not, and if the district is unwilling to provide adequate kindergarten teachers at our neighborhood schools, then those kids are far less likely to have a seat in the classroom down their street. It's a double penalty solely for being born in the summer. Tonight, I want to talk to you about why it's so important to me that my kids go to their community school. It's not that Robert Down is better. It's that it's the closest school to my house. It's also the nearest playground, and I've been taking my children there since they could walk, and since one of them was in diapers. And this is the school that I've been telling them for years now that they're going to go to, measure by measure, trying to prepare them for this big leap that they're taking. Each morning, I watch the daily migration of neighborhood children and parents walking to Robert Down, and it's something that we've been looking forward to being a part of. My children are the youngest kids on our block, and they look up to their neighborhood friends. The second grader across the street from us told my son once again this week, he's made this promise multiple times, I'm going to be your big buddy when you get to Robert Down. He's trying to prepare him for the big move just like I am. I find it very helpful. He tells him how the cafeteria is going to work and to get excited for Thursdays because that's hamburger day. And now you're asking my children to walk to Robert Down next year, watch their friends go through the front door, and get on a school bus and go the other way. We work really hard to live here, and we love being a part of this community. And we just have this expectation that our kids are going to be able to go to the schools that are down the street from our houses. We don't want them to feel left out and that all of their neighbors head in one direction and they must go another way. We want to make them feel like they belong. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Do you have anyone else in the room or online? Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Quincy. I'm a PG resident, a mom of 3. My oldest is going to be entering into kinder. I'm also a product of PGUSD. I know you've heard from a lot of us tonight. Thank you. Appreciate the time. And we know you have a hard job. I'm also with other parents that have spoken and agree, but I specifically want to speak about the reassignment from our neighborhood schools. My husband and I moved here to raise our family. The public school district was a big reason we decided to make the move. And although PG is expensive, we, like many of the other families here in town, make tough financial decisions in order to live here. And I think you can also ask anyone here in town that when we reviewed options of homes to rent and eventually buy, we all reviewed what school our child would attend. It's not about one school versus the other in town. It's just about being able to attend the school that's assigned to your address, because that's what we factored in when we chose our home, and that the young kids attending TK to 5th will require the most support when commuting to and from school. And I'm thankful for the community here. I wouldn't have heard about the possibility of reassignment because I wasn't able to make the TK intro meeting in March, but that's, from what I know, the first time we heard about the possibility of reassignment. And now we're hearing that we may not know which school our child attends until summer. That's hard on families. We've missed out on opportunities to go to other schools. We've dropped out of preschool options, and we're scrambling to find other options outside the district. And I can't imagine going through this uncertainty for my 2 younger kids. I think if a larger policy change needs to happen, I would hope that you would involve parents or the community and give us more advance notice. And I also just want to add that I don't believe it's just an elementary school family issue. I think it also has potential to affect the community because families considering Monterey County use school zones as a key factor in their decision making. And if PG can't guarantee neighborhood school placement, the families will look at other districts for housing. And we need to be preserving PG's reputation for these wonderful schools that we've had for so long and the ability to attend the neighborhood school, or we risk seeing a change in the community with the newer, younger families not coming in. We know that the budgetary decisions are complex and we appreciate you guys going through it. It does seem as though funding has been shifted to other areas and it's impacting our ability to have enough teachers for all of the neighborhood schools. And I really hope you'll think about shifting in other ways or try some creative alternatives to make sure that our core education at each neighborhood school is fully supported for all the kids that are assigned to go to that school. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your comments. Much appreciated. Okay.
Hi, my name's Josh Wolf. I'm also here in solidarity with the rest of the families here. I want to speak to the impact of these changes on the ability of children to walk to the neighbourhood school. We recently moved to the area and we specifically chose to live where we live based on our decision to have a single car for our household. We chose to go down to one bike, one car, knowing that we'll be able to walk to school, we'll be able to ride to school with our children. And we wanted this. We wanted this for better health outcomes for our children, both mental and physical, and be more environmentally friendly. You know, that's the thing that we've really seen here in PG. Environmentalism, so strong. And we love that about the area. It's no secret that childhood obesity is on the rise, and a significant contributing factor to this is the decreasing amount of exercise that children get. Walking or riding to school is such an easy way to guarantee a base level of daily physical activity for children. And many studies have showed that this increase in activity results in better concentration and better activity throughout the day for children in the classroom. And these benefits also appear to continue through the lifetime of children. Studies have shown, for example, that participants that exercise as children receive better cognitive test results regardless of their age. Naturally, then, walking to school is also very good for children's mental health. A 2021 study, for example, showed that children who are more physically active showed better general mental health and fewer mental health problems. Walking to school also allows our children to develop and foster a sense of independence and confidence, which helps prepare them to take the big leap into middle school and later years of their life. From an environmental perspective, obviously, teaching children to walk when they can really helps them to feel that they can make a difference to their own small actions in the world. And finally, from a logistical perspective, will there be a bus to take my kids to school? I don't know how I'm going to get my kids to school. I drive to school. My wife walks my kids to preschool. Some people like us, how are we going to get there? What's the process? Obviously, taking a K or TK age child walking all the way across town is not going to be practical or feasible. Thanks for your time. Just reconsider, please.
Thank you very much for your comment. This will be our last comment on this item. We have time for one more.
Thank you. Sorry. I appreciate it. Hello, my name is Allie Halings-Mayorga. I am here in solidarity with the families who have already spoken, and I specifically want to talk about possible other solutions rather than busing our babies outside of their community schools. Number one, to ensure a shared sacrifice, do not allow any district employees to send their child to an out-of-district school unless all other PGUSD students are admitted to their neighborhood schools. Please rehire our kindergarten and TK teachers this summer rather than the 3 mental health therapists that were hired using the one-time pandemic funding that has now expired. Seek out additional funding sources. We discussed maybe PG Pride. 4, ask for cuts at the district level. Cuts should not hit the classroom alone. Again, this is our most vulnerable group of students entering. 5, consider transferring students from Forest Grove to Robert Down instead of the other way around if that transfer is desirable for the Forest Grove student families. And I know it's also been discussed that this out of community school district transfer would only be for 1 year. But let me tell you, this legacy starts now. 35 years ago, when my parents planted roots here, my mom would tell me, "You're going to know these kids for the rest of your life." And at the time, I was like, yeah, that's not a big deal. But now, as I see it come to fruition, it's magical. I'm standing here tonight amongst parents, some are in the room, some are on Zoom, who I attended kindergarten with. And now our children are starting kindergarten together. And to disrupt that, if only for 1 year, it's not acceptable. Dr. Adamson, you're not from here, and so you can only speak to the sense of belonging that is so important to this community, but I've lived it. And if you do not honor these community school district lines, you are unraveling the very fabric of this community. I've brought my Robert Down sweatshirt that I wore, and I've held on to this for 30 plus years. And I will see my baby walking up those Robert Down steps to his community school because I know you will do the right thing. Protect our incoming kindergarten students, support our families, respect our community, and please find a better solution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Again, if there's anyone that would like to speak on other non-agenda items. If not, we will move on to our PGUSD staff comments. And I'll just again thank everybody for coming and such well thought out comments.
Go ahead. Okay.
So
hello, my name is Mary Quindamill. Last month, I spoke to make sure the board was aware of the harassment my colleagues been enduring for the past almost 3 years. It continues to this day. I formally asked the district why. It was hard for me to believe the answers I received. So I did what most of us do, and I hopped online to search for some clarification. Here's what I found. We, PGUSD, have an obligation to step in and have our legal representative removed when we are being represented by someone not following the taken attorney's oath, because we, PGUSD, are ultimately responsible. This is why said insurance attorney puts PGUSD on every legal document. According to the American Bar Association, an attorney involved in business, including workmen's compensation insurance matters, can be disbarred for lying, or more specifically, dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation are grounds for disciplinary action. Attorneys are bound by a professional code of ethics, which include a duty to be truthful and avoid misleading conduct. The attorney representing us, PGUSD, has been dishonest in legal settings, has used intimidation, harassment, bullying tactics, exploited disabilities, and since December 9th has engaged in retaliatory acts since the judge did not rule in his favor. PGUSD is within their legal right to object to abusive representation. And thus far, the district's failure to intervene is ethically negligent. I have to believe that at least one board member believes, as I do, that PGUSD should be a safe place where we spread kindness, where we are conscientious of one another's mental health, that we stand for integrity and inclusion, a place where we model being an upstander and doing the right thing. Stepping aside and complacently watching another human being, a colleague, a member of our PGUSD family, being utterly and wrongfully annihilated and crushed, that is not who we are. My hope is that a board member will take the time to look into this matter and join me in efforts to end the harassment. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Quintanilla. Dr. Hagquist, you're up next.
Good evening, Larry Hagquist, Executive Director of Educational Services, and I wanted to share with everyone that today, May 1st, is National School Principals Day, and school principals, it's just a thankless position, except for right now, because you are being thanked for the work that you are doing for our district. So I just wanted to say, Emily, Cy Brownfield, Robert Down, thank you. We have Abby Arbon, Forest Grove, thank you so much. Greg O'Meara from the high school, thank you so much. Sean Roach, thank you so much from the middle school. And Barbara from the adult school, thank you for the work you're doing. You are all amazing leaders and you deserve recognition on this day, which is your day. So you are so appreciated.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. Yeah, this is a little different one. It's not a, hopefully no one disagrees with that. If they do, they're welcome to the mic. But the next item, if there's no other PGUSD staff comments, is our consent agenda. So with that, we have items A through, I guess it is S on our consent agenda. And just want to mention, these are items that are just normal and routine that we see every year. But this is our chance to have public comment on them and then for discussion. So is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on any of the consent agenda items? Not online, not in that room. So then I will go to board discussion. I'll look down to our reduced board today. Trustee Schloss, yeah.
I just have a question on the contract for services for Adventures by the Sea with Robert H. Down. Are these kids getting in a kayak?
I think we technically should pull this item if you want the clarification on it. Would you like to have this item pulled? We can discuss it.
That's all I really want to know.
I can speak as a parent that yes, they are. My son will be one of the ones getting in a kayak.
Okay. It's just a little scary to me, but okay.
It's been done in the past.
We have all of the liabilities in place and all of the. Yeah.
I may be a person there, helping oversee it as a parent, not as a board member. So you can have me to blame if you're unhappy with it.
Okay.
Why did I just say that on the mic? Anyway. Okay, so are you okay with that answer?
Yeah, it just, it didn't say exactly if they were, it said as a club, but it didn't really say about how this was going to, how long they're going to be in the water or,
Yeah, I'm sure. And I know it's been rescheduled at least once, so there's probably some leeway built in. And I should have also clarified, it might be my wife not being, which would be a lot better for the kids in many ways. But okay, with that, we're not going to pull anything. Any other comments? Clerk McNary? Okay, can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Also move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Clerk McNary and seconded by Trustee Schloss, and we'll go to the student trustee. You get to comment and provide our first vote tonight.
Aye.
Okay. All in favor for the rest of the board, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? If I can count right, there are not. You ready for that? So that passes 3-0 with our student trustee vote in support as well. And now on to item 7, the public hearing for the proposed adoption of curriculum. So I will turn it over to Dr. Hagquist, who I think will be leading us through this hearing. And I'll go ahead and gavel us in at 7:56 for the start of this public hearing.
Good evening, board. Dr. Larry Hagquist, Executive Director of Educational Services. And I would just like to recommend that we keep the curriculum and the textbooks that we have on display here at the district office, which went on display at the beginning of our public hearing. The notices went out on April 11th, and that we continue to display those and seek input from the community on three proposed adopted curricula. One would be the EL Education K through 5 curricula, which we've been recently piloted. The Marine Science by McGraw-Hill and the 3rd edition 2025, as well as the Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum developed by the California Board of Education in 2021. They've been on display since April 11th, and they will continue to be on display until the May 15th board meeting, at which time you will receive information about the processes behind the adoptions of each one of these.
So just for clarity, the 15th is when we will actually move to either accept or not this, but this is a chance for the public to.
Yeah, this is a chance for the public to view the items and to provide feedback. We've got a feedback form available out there for the public to submit input. And on the May 15th, it'll be an action item.
Great. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak up as part of this public hearing? Seeing none, I think we go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:58. Now on to item 8 on the agenda here. This is the action discussion portion of the agenda, and we're starting off with 2 resolutions. The first one is Resolution 1153, California Day of the Teacher and Teacher Appreciation Week, and we have Chief Rogaman presenting on this as well.
Thank you, President Hazen. I'm Buck Rogaman, the Chief Human Resources Officer here at PGUSD, and it is my absolute pleasure to bring forward this resolution. We're recognizing the California Day of the Teacher and also Teacher Appreciation Week. I want to read a little bit under the background portion of the board cover to give a little bit of the history behind these two days. Teacher Appreciation Week, celebrated annually during the first week of May, began as a national recognition of teachers in 1953, thanks to the efforts of First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Initially just a single day, the recognition was later expanded into a week-long celebration by the National Parent-Teacher Association. During the early 1970s, the Association of Mexican American Educators, AMAE, adopted the Mexican tradition of annually celebrating El Día del Maestro, Day of the Teacher, festivities observed in Mexico and other Latin American countries, and began organizing related events throughout the state. And then in 1982, AMAE sponsored legislation incorporated in the Education Code, Section 3722.10, to establish the Day of the Teacher. It's my pleasure to stand up here because I have seen the incredible work that our teachers do at this district. I saw it for 8 years as a teacher, going daily and watching the incredible work that my colleagues did. And then for the past 14 years as a site administrator, I had a front row seat to watching some of the best instruction one could ever imagine. And then for the past 3 years at the district office, still having those little glimpses because it's a little less time in the classroom. But I just wanted to say that the recognition that we give our teachers this week is heartfelt, and it's so well deserved, especially as our teachers embark on the month of May, which I think that everyone knows is a really busy month. It is an important month because May is where a lot of the memories for our students are created, and our teachers do a great job of creating those memories for them.
Thank you so much. I will go ahead and read out this really important resolution, and then we'll open up to public comment as well. So for resolution number 1153, proclaiming Teacher Appreciation Week and California Day of the Teacher, whereas teachers personify our society's belief that universal public education is key to meeting the challenges of a changing world, and the influence of a good teacher continues long after school days are only memories. And whereas teachers demonstrate and share their love of learning in the classroom every day and fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors. And by doing so, are partners with parents and the community in inspiring students' dreams and laying the foundation for them to be good citizens. And whereas teachers strive to make every classroom an exciting environment where productive and useful learning can take place, and each student is encouraged to grow and develop, and where teachers reach out to foster the well-being of each student, regardless of ability, social or economic background, race or ethnic origin or religion. And whereas the board applauds the unique and highly specialized skills and dedication required to meet the very needs of the young people served by the district's instructional programs, and recognizes that the quality of all students' educational experiences depends significantly and vitally upon the quality of their teachers, who are entrusted with fulfilling the mission of education to prepare our students for the future. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing board of Pacific Grove Unified School District that resolution 1153 be adopted to observe May 5th, 2025 through May 9th, 2025 as Teacher Appreciation Week, and specifically May 14th as the California Day of the Teacher, by taking time to remember and salute the teachers who mold and educate our children, impact and enrich our lives, and thereby are critical to the constant transformation of our society. So thank you for listening to me read that. And now it is open for public comment, either online or in the room. If not, I will go to the board, starting maybe at the far end with Trustee Shamas and heading towards me.
Well, speaking as a teacher, it's nice to be recognized, but I'm sure most teachers want the recognition from their students as the most important kind of recognition. So I hope they get it this week. And congratulations to, because I think we have the best teachers in the county. So I'm proud of all of you guys. And I really thank you for all the work you do.
Well said. Clerk McNary.
Yeah, every day should probably be Teacher Appreciation Day. It kind of is when you're a parent, because you're so grateful for the work that they do and the remarkable talent and dedication and love that they pour into our kids every single day. So we recognize them today, but we appreciate them every day. So thank you.
Well said again. And I'll tell just another little story. I mean, it is very clear to me and to my parents, I would not be here, sitting here, probably here at PG, definitely not in my career if it weren't for the teachers that I had the luck of being with. And I'll just tell one tiny story about Miss Morse, who was my chemistry teacher in 11th grade, talked about mouth pipetting camel urine in the middle of the desert. And nonetheless, I still ended up in the field of science. And so being able to engage with students and really inspire students, particularly those students that might not believe in themselves, the teachers play a huge role in helping them get over that hurdle. And again, we were lucky enough to see some of the outcomes of that from our community high school here tonight as well. So with that, I will actually, Trustee Powell, you will have the first vote on this as well. But if you wanted to make any comments before.
Yeah, I just want to say that teachers do a lot more than teaching at this district. And as a senior and kind of reflecting on my years throughout my elementary, middle school, and high school, it's been really cool to see that it's a lot more than teaching, and it's more about building those relationships with students and helping them have a positive time at the high school and at any school. But I don't know, just as a senior, I've really seen like my relationships and like a lot of my fun experiences at high school have been built off of teachers and just talking with them or them planning events and helping organize things. So yeah, thank you to all the teachers and for all your hard work.
Very, very well said. And so with that, I will go ahead, since I read it, make the motion to approve or to adopt this resolution 1153. Can I get a second?
Second that.
Okay, so the motion was made by myself, seconded by Trustee Shamas. Student trustee vote.
Aye.
Okay, all in favor for the rest of the board?
Aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? It passes 3-0 as well. So now we're on to adoption of resolution number 1154, and we have Chief Rogoman to talk about the Classified School Employee Week.
Once again, it's my pleasure to bring this item to the board. This one is in recognition of the classified employees. The District Administration recommends the board review and adopt Resolution 1154 proclaiming Classified School Employees Week, May 18th through the 24th. Just so the board knows that our celebration of both the classified and the certificated staff, the recognition that the district is going to do, will be combined into next week. Although the official week for the classified employees is that May 18th through the 24th date. The background for this celebration is in 1986. The California School Employees Association sponsored state legislation to create Classified School Employee Week. Since then, California Public Schools have taken 1 week each May to recognize the outstanding efforts and contributions of classified school workers. The classified employees are near and dear to all of our hearts. They have a great contribution in building the culture of our schools, also tending to the appearance of our schools, and typically are the first face of welcome and greeting for people who come to our schools. So the people who feel welcome and feel the love at our schools feel that welcome and feel that love because of the classified employees that work here. Classified employees are near and dear to my heart, as my mom was a principal's secretary, and I went ahead and married a campus supervisor, as you may know. So Jenny, that week is going to be to honor you and all your fellow CSEA members. And so if the board would so approve, we have a resolution to recognize the week of the classified employee.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think we're going to have our superintendent, Dr. Adamson, to read this resolution.
Pleasure. Whereas the California School Employees Association and the legislature of the state of California has declared that May 18th through 24th, 2025 shall be classified School Employee Week, a time to recognize the many contributions of classified school employees to public education. And whereas classified professionals provide valuable services to the school and students of the Pacific Grove Unified School District, and whereas classified employees contribute to the establishment and promotion of a positive instructional environment, and whereas classified employees serve a vital role in providing for the welfare and safety of Pacific Grove Unified School District students, and whereas classified employees of the Pacific Grove Unified School District strive for excellence in all areas relative to the educational community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Governing Board of Pacific Grove Unified School District that Resolution 1154 be adopted to observe Classified School Employee Week during the time of May 18 through 24, 2025, as an opportunity to acknowledge the achievements and contributions of classified school employees in our system of public education and the Pacific Grove Unified School District.
Thank you very much. And just like the last item, we'll open up for public comment first. Anyone in the room or anyone online? If not, we will go to the board and I'll give you a chance again if you would like, Trustee Powell, maybe to start for us, but if you want us to come back to you, that's fine too. Okay, so I will go ahead and start on this one too. Again, it's in some ways maybe the less seen of the employees that are certificated, but just as important. I will again tell just a little bit of a story about this, being able to see the smiling and waving face, often the first one that I see when I'm driving one of my children, I won't say which, to school because she didn't get up on time and wasn't able to walk by herself, but they're still there giving us a smile and helping us deal with maybe a tardy, maybe a absence. And as you mentioned, Trustee Ogerman, I mean, super shout outs to Jenny, who also I know is there watching over our kids and making sure that they are being, taken care of and feel part of that culture of WE. It's such an important role that every person, but particularly the classified employees, play on our campus. So with that, I'll hand over to Clerk McNary.
Yeah, agree. The first people you see on campus and sometimes the ones you never do because they're working and behind the scenes. Yeah, classified employees equally as essential and important as our certificated staff, and some of the relationships I can say personally that my kids have created have been the closest and the most long lasting with classified staff, whether that was the person who was there to greet you and keep traffic moving in the morning at Forest Grove, or the teacher who found a common interest with you in European soccer when you had to go to school early to do reading intervention. But I mean, it means the world knowing how much your kids are cared for and loved, and classified employees make a huge impact in that way. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you for the great comments. Trustee Shamas.
Yeah, I like the classified because they're so unique. And they provide a service that the teachers don't. And so they're special in that way. Shout out to the Yellow Jackets on the playground, like they should get like a special something, because handling all of the personalities and disagreements and all of that is special. So yeah, they are a unique and necessary part of the whole school environment. So thank you.
Said again, go back to you, Trustee Pelly.
Yeah, I think a lot of the behind the scenes work is not always noticed, but it's definitely there and it's definitely important. So thank you to all the people and all the staff that are working behind the scenes. And Dr. Adamson actually reminded me on a sticky note that my mom is a classified employee. So I just want to say thank you to my mom for all the work that she's done as being the district nurse. Well said, and good reminder there. So with that, I'll go, I should say, is there anyone that would like to make a motion on resolution 1154?
I'll make the motion.
And can I get a second?
I'll second it.
A motion was made by Clerk McNary and seconded by Trustee Shabazz and Student Trustee. Aye. Okay, in support of the adoption of the resolution, all of the rest of the trustees, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And if I can count, that passes 3-0. So thank you guys so much. It's currently 8:14. I'm going to propose we have a 6-minute bio break and then come back at 8:20 for those online for item C, the CHS lead teacher job description. Thank you. Going to go ahead and reconvene a little late at 8:22. Unfortunately, we tend to do that sometimes, but we now have item C, CHS lead teacher job description being presented by our Chief Rogaman yet again.
Thank you, President Hazen. This is a job description that has been rewritten for the lead teacher at our community high school. You are going to notice in the job description, anything that's new has been added in red. Also, there's some strike through of some things that have been removed from the old job description. I think that we've made some adjustments to reflect the current roles and responsibilities that the lead teacher has. Also, what we've done further down in the job description is we've added some of the standard language that we're putting in for things like the physical requirements of the job and some of the qualifications under knowledge of and ability to. In consultation with Sherry Dieter, who is the current lead teacher at Community High School, as well as PGTA Representative Sally Richmond, and also Principal O'Meara, we've been able to revamp this job description to accurately reflect the duties of the lead teacher at Community High School. And I think that we saw great evidence of the work that they're doing. With Tony being recognized as receiving the Every Student Succeeding Award from AXA Region 10. So that was really an awesome way to begin the meeting.
Very, very good reminder. Is there anyone from the, well, thank you for the presentation. I'll say quickly, is there anyone from the public has a comment on this item? Okay, none online, none in the room. Board, would anyone like to? Go ahead, yeah, Trustee Schloss.
Just one clarification, Buck. It mentions juvenile hall or youth authority, and the word youth authority is no longer used as Department of Juvenile Justice.
we can make that update.
Okay.
Clerk Canary, do you have a comment as well?
No, I'm just want to clarify again, this is not a new job, not a new position. We're just revising the description so it is accurate to the current position, right?
Correct. That every time we revise a job description, it will come before the board. We can talk about whether it's more appropriate to be on consent or action, but yes, that we are just revising an existing job.
Thank you. And I do appreciate seeing it on
Action.
I do personally. I like to know that we're going through the process of making sure the job matches up with what the job description says.
Right.
So thank you for your work on all of this. I know it's a big undertaking.
Staff is doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just for fun, I will thank you again for the presentation. I do like the idea of it actually going in consent, just to disagree friendly.
Yeah.
But this is, again, it is really good to see, and yeah, thank you. And I'll go ahead and make a motion to basically accept these changes, including the suggestion from Trustee Shamas on Youth Authority, updating that. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
So the motion was made by myself and seconded by Clerk McNary. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. It passes 3-0. Thank you very much. And I think you're still on the dais or on the
Yes.
podium.
Thank you. Next, you have the final classified layoff for resolution 1155. This is the formal layoff notice resolution for the board to pass that is going to make official the layoffs that the board approved at the March 6th meeting. So this is the final step that the board will take, and then the employees will be served with the final layoff notices by certified mail after this is approved, should the board choose to approve it.
We have time again on the agenda for public comment. Seeing none online and none in the room, I'll go back to the board and look down the row. I don't think we have to read this resolution. Okay, no, I see no board comment on this. I'll just ask one quick question just to make clear that these positions can always be rehired if needed. Is that correct? As long as they were approved?
Correct. That you will recall that the board passed an updated job description and salary schedule for mental health therapists that will now be able to serve our students that are on IEPs, and also extend the work year so that they can work the extended school year portion of the year in June. Because we've approved that job description and the salary schedule, we were able to post those positions, and we should be able to hire soon.
Thank you so much. Okay, with that, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution number 1155.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Trustee Shamas and seconded by Clerk McNary. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. It passes 3-0. So now we're on to number 1156.
Resolution number 1156 is the final certificated layoff resolution. This is in response to the action that the board took on March 6th to reduce certificated positions by 4.6 FTE. 4.40 of those FTE represented layoffs of employees. Once again, this is the final step that the board needs to take before the May 14th deadline, by which time our certificated employees also need to be notified that the board has taken this final action with regard to layoffs. They will also be served by certified mail.
Thank you. We have time for public comment on this item. None online and none in the room, and I'll just start off again with a kind of the same question being here, that again, if there is a need, these positions can be rehired if class sizes go above the maximum, for example. Is that correct?
Correct. That these layoffs were based on enrollment projections, and these projections are current. But should there be a need to rehire, the employees that are qualified on this list will go on a rehire list. It's a 24-month rehire list, and they would have the right of first refusal based on the qualifications that they have for the job.
Right, and just to be clear, I'm not asking these questions because it has not been made clear in the past on this, but I just wanted that again clear for the record. So, anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, I will go ahead and make a motion on this one. I can get a second.
Second.
And the motion was made by myself and seconded by trustee Schwass. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. It passes 3-0. So we're on now to the proposed board calendar. Superintendent Adamson. Thank you, Chief Erdogan.
Well, yes, indeed. So really the dates that we have before you tonight are really for us to go ahead and approve our board meeting dates all the way through June of 2026. This really will allow us to do, really plan for that next school year. As we're, our school sites are, putting out dates for their open houses and back to school nights. It just helps ensure that we, have as few conflicts as possible. But right, the dates before you are as proposed. Any comments or questions?
We'll go ahead and open up to the public if there's any questions about the calendars, both the one for the rest of this year and next year. With none in the room and none online, I'll look back to the trustees here in the room if anyone has any comments or questions to
add. Just on page 136, we can eliminate swearing in of new board members for December 11th.
Hopefully. Yes, we can. I'm just joking.
That is correct. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes. I think, those items are on there as sort of revolving, items. And I think I hesitate to remove it only because it serves as that reminder then, so what we could do is, perhaps, I'll talk with Lucira about maybe sort of a different way to, identify topics that may not be at that particular meeting, but that, we know we'd be revisiting again the following year. But good point, Trustee Shamas. We can make a little revision there. Yeah.
And nothing from me on that. So I'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve the board calendar as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'm happy to go ahead and second that. So the motion was made by Clerk Perry and seconded by myself. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. That passes 3-0. So we're now on to item 9, the information discussion part of our agenda, where we have, I think, 5 items to go over. So with that, we have very exciting presentation by our school lunch hero. Robert Silvera, Director of Nutrition.
Make sure it works this time. Hey. Okay, good evening. My name is Robert Silvera. I am your nutrition director for PGUSD, and I am presenting tonight on the end of year food service update. The presentation will be structured with program data followed by some highlights that were a result of the, January 9th labor MOU that was approved, and then finish with some pictures and next steps for the department. The first thing we will review is the ending meal count numbers over the last several years. Previously, I've also shown the pre-universal free meals number here, but I feel that it is important for context to show our growth when we have the opportunity to share with everyone. So 2018-19, 117,000 meals, 23-24, 327. This year, we are anticipated to rise up to 348,000, and that represents nearly tripling the program in 5 years and a 6% increase year over year. Here we have graphs of enrollment compared with our revenue numbers. Again, I like to show the year's data for a complete picture of the program's overall performance, because in many situations like this, there would not be a rising revenue chart to pair along with a sharp declining enrollment chart. In comparison with last year, our enrollment numbers are quite similar, but we are going to see a roughly 12% increase in revenue and final out at 1.6 million. So these charts show the comparison rates for each meal category over the last 3 years. I like to show participation rates because they give a more accurate representation of the popularity of the program, and they take things like enrollment out of the equation and look at how many kids are actually on campus. Looking into the numbers, it is fair to ask what the overall goal is to what we may be trying to achieve. This can be a hard number to come up with, as there are many factors that play in to whether students are eating or not. Historically high free or reduced districts and districts that have qualified for every student to eat for free for several years are typically in the range of 60s for lunch and 40s for breakfast. And those are districts that have been doing this for a long time. Districts that are newly universal free, like Pacific Grove, that have had an adjustment period to deal with because of lower free and reduced categorized students, typically would have lower counts. For reference, one of our neighboring districts reported in November that their statistics showed a participation of 47 for breakfast and 46 for lunch. You can see here how we measure up to that, as well as the California averages, with a 55% participation last month in breakfast and 66 in lunch. Also, some notable events that I would like to acknowledge here that I've put in colors. The first is the orange, marks the beginning of our time together. That we can see pretty instant growth, not only from the year prior, but just from month 1 to month 2. The green month is the initiation of our reduced sugar district-wide policy that I wasn't sure how the participation would stack up after the result of that, potentially lowering. But as you can see, we have remained steady. And finally, the yellow marks are record high months of participation for the program. And given that they are the last couple months, I think it is a positive note that we are moving in the right direction. Okay, so some quick highlights from the January MOU that kind of prompted part of this presentation. We added 8% in labor hours. We reclassified positions so that each kitchen has a food service 3, and we added 7.5 hours per week of administrative support to the department. And with that, we are at a more sustainable, revenue neutral budget position. I just wanted to quickly discuss the importance of a goal of ours to be revenue neutral for Fund 13. In regards to our fund balance, by regulation, we are not allowed to carry in excess of more than 6 months of expenses, which for this district is $800,000. And we are slated to end the current year at a fund balance of $1.25 million. Plus, we have a grant that still has almost $200,000 to spend down on it. This revenue neutral goal, most importantly, is to maximize the amount of dollars per student that we are spending, mainly in the form of product and service, and secondarily, to correctly balance ourselves on a yearly basis and not increase those excess reserves. Frontline staffing additions have allowed us to maximize our breakfast offerings to 5 options daily at the elementaries and even more at the upper levels. What was previously a once a week fresh made item has become an everyday choice for our students. The amount of choices we offer is double the amount of most comparable districts, along with being fresh and healthy. Lunch development has continued to grow at all levels, and we have done away with our last pre-made wrapped item, and now we are doing breakfast and lunch burritos that are house made. The addition of administrative support for the department has been a vital part of our growth in the past year. It is only an hour and a half a day, but has made a huge difference. Our new wonderful admin, Miss Linda Lyon, is also our food service 3 at Pacific Grove High School, and she has stepped into this new role. She has developed a structured staff taste testing program that helps determine our next moves, and she has served as a streamlined communication and resource from the kitchen to the nutrition office. Each new special on our menus are more complex than in the past and come with trial and error and practice, and she helps keep the new recipes standard across the district, as well as developing a robust and valuable recipe index that will be used as a base for all of our menus moving forward. The week-to-week task support that has come with this by taking some of the administrative burden off of me, as well as having the luxury of now being able to brainstorm and speak in our language in our office, has been extremely freeing and conducive to some of our most recent projects. Tying into that is the amount of new collaborations and efforts spent with the staff and students at the sites. With every new menu item, I am on site cooking samples, not only to guide the execution to the staff, but to take the opportunity to feed and interact with our site colleagues and students and come together over sharing a meal. Since February, I've spent 15 days on sites cooking new items that are on the menu, items that we want to test out for the menu, and even one-off specials just to use our inventory in new ways. This is the last point that I want to emphasize about our team. When I'm in the kitchens preparing to feed the team or feed the staff or students, I am working with the same passion that I do at home. The team is there every day as a family to feed our family. The frontline team works very hard and cooks with heart and has so much care and concern for our kids, and I hold that very highly as we are aiming to feed our students as a whole body and mind and make them feel that they belong and are special in our community. I'm running out of steam here. Okay, pictures. So we have some plant-based items that we started here. Not all the students have the same preferences that the majority does, so we can't always cater to that. So we're trying to provide some more opportunities for that, and that gives us some flexibility to be creative and not just put these plant-based nuggets on a plate. We're trying to do more to it. This was we added it to the menu, so the left side was actually served last week. The middle was our sampling day that I did at one of the sites, a little chicken parm that went really well. And then we have our new enchilada soup there. In our journey to do more scratch cooking, it is now to the point of elevating the scratch cooking, building upon itself. The rices and noodles are loaded with vegetables and garlic and onions and all the flavor, layered with flavor profiles. The salsas and picos are all scratch. Each site makes their own. Both levels have multiple varieties, and the upper levels have multiple variations. They have 5 different salsas and 2 different picos that they've throughout the weeks that they're making. And that's all them kind of initiating the beyond just 1 or 2. That's them trying new things that the kids will like. Okay. So some next steps. This is how we are planning on spending down a large chunk of our excess reserves. So to those that don't know, we are not allowed to spend grant and excess funding on year-over-year items like staffing. We are also not allowed to spend things like construction or anything outside of the food service program. It needs to be one-time spending that can be tied to the infrastructure of the nutrition program. So I can't just spend all this money outside of Fund 13 and outside of our program. So we currently have an RFP out for custom mobile stations, custom service room design and equipment, and custom exterior shaded seating that you can see there. There's already been some mock-ups of the carts of their street legal food service carts that can go, get to the other side of the high school or even at the middle school. Getting up the ramp from the kitchen is quite tough. So that allows us to be able to get to the other side of campus a lot easier. And the mock-ups of the seating and shade structures are, I'm very excited about. It's a big project that it's been in the works for a while, and very happy to be a part of. A new service line is not something everyone would see, but it would be a big deal for the kids walking through the line. And this gives us the opportunity to add layers of pride and campus culture to all the schools that participate in our program, as well as give us the ability to put actions behind our words as we create an ever improving and growing and proud culture. And that's tomorrow.
Ending with a dad joke, my favorite way to end. Thank you so much for such an awesome presentation. We will open up to public comment. Is any in the room? Yes, please come on up. Come on up to the mic that we need to all hear you. Sorry.
Hello, I wasn't going to make public comment, but as somebody who completely just loves what happens on our campuses with food service, Robert said something that was so important, and it's the staff interaction with the students and how they're constantly trying to get feedback and just making it so our students will eat and have really good nutrition. And something that I want to add is if people in this room haven't had a lunch there, please do. Like I say this all the time. I've had salads at really fancy hoity-toity places, but one of the best salads is at our cafeteria. So I just wanted to put that out there. And I just wanted to make a public comment to honor all the dedication and hard work that goes into serving our students food. It's a very much an endeavor that goes into a culture of belonging, safety, and prosperity. I have come into some of the work that I've gotten to do had to do around food service because not being able to share a meal or participate meaningfully has been an issue for some humans that they have let me know, especially our students who identify as having vegan food preferences, halal, or having to observe kosher. I have in some of those situations been able to very easily communicate with staff, and ever since the efforts that you have been doing and all the people in the cafeteria have been doing, more students can participate and have more options for belonging and not feeling like they're marginalized because they happen to represent the non-dominant culture with food choices. So I wanted to mention that and just give a shout out to all of the lunch humans that are just, they work so hard to get that line down in like 10 minutes. I could never do it. So thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thanks.
More public comment, please. Principal Brown.
I'd like to just publicly thank Robert Silvera and our two nutrition service personnel, Rosa Diaz and Lindsay Crow-Schreiber, who have done a phenomenal job of providing our students with delicious and nutritious food throughout the day. And I will also echo what you said in terms of being able to provide accommodations for our students who may have dairy sensitivities or vegan preferences or vegetarian preferences. I actually get to enjoy the food every once in a while. Whenever I have a lunch with the principal, I always make it a point to go get school lunch along with the students, and it is always so tasty. I had the enchilada soup today and it was marvelous. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. And thank you to all of our food service personnel.
See one, oh no, I was concerned Barbara was coming up here, but it looks like she's just letting someone sit down again. So I will start us off if that's okay with folks and then head down the line. Yeah, I mean, the thank yous couldn't be more. I know I called you School Lunch Hero, but you're wearing the School Lunch Hero squad shirt. So it is truly a thank you to everybody in the Nutrition Services Department. I don't think, we talk about all the benefits we have at the district. I don't think it is nearly as seen as how big a benefit this is. All of us that have had school lunches growing up remember probably the cardboard taste and the sometimes not chewiness of the foods that should be chewy or crunchy. And that is not an issue here at our district, which is remarkable. I'll say a few more quick things. The LCAP presentation we had that asked student opinion, almost all of their first comments were about how amazing the food was, which again, just speaks to this. My son wanted me to ask you the recipe for the orange chicken because he said it's way better than we can make, which I'm not really going to thank you for because I'd like to be a better cook than you guys, but I'm not at times. I'd like to sign up for taste testing if that's something we can do. Selfishly, that's my only thing I'd say negatively about your presentation is we didn't actually have the food to eat tonight. Not that I'm the only focus on that, but then the last thing I'll just say quickly, those trucks look a little bit close to food trucks. Maybe I don't know if there's any thoughts potentially of having some like pop-up ideas when for that down the road, but you can answer that if you want, or otherwise, keep it as a parking lot idea.
I think this starts something that we don't know that we can even do yet.
Yeah. A very good point. Okay. Thank you again.
This is such a highlight. I think even I love the food data and the percentages of how many meals you're serving. I'd love having that information and the program participation. What you do is so incredibly important. I can say as a parent, there are many days when my kiddos go to school without a breakfast because they woke up late or because whatever else happens. But I think there's some real like comfort in knowing that they're going to have an option and it's going to be something that's going to meet their nutritional needs and probably fuel their brain and their body for the rest of the day. So I'm really grateful. Awesome breakfast options. I am on the middle school campus on Fridays, so I get to have burritos and the pico with corn and black beans and lime and cilantro, and it's fresh and it's true. The kids love it. They make little nacho bowls out of it. They rave about it. So, yeah, I mean, food is a highlight for my kids at school, and that's really cool to be able to say. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this is going. It's really great. Thank you.
Well, not to bore everyone with history, but the history of food service in our district is interesting to me. When I first got on the board, we were still using kitchens and doing some, homemade things. Then we went to this whole Cisco, automated, bring in the pre-made things. And it was always because of budgetary reasons. So, and one of the things that was so irritating to me when I was a board member then was that the district always looked to the nutrition group to balance their budget within a small, tiny budget, and like we never gave any general fund money to them. Like I always thought, like that's just wrong, But anyway, so they struggled. But I must say that everybody that worked in foods and nutrition was so dedicated, like you, Robert. I mean, you really came in, I think, on the heels of other people that were just as dedicated as I see you are and caring and did what they could with what they had. So to know that we have more, that there's more money available, just, as you know, has opened up so many possibilities. And so that's great. And you're doing a good job with that. So the only thing I have to say about possible tweaks is, and I brought this up before, many years before, it was like the time of day that certain things get served. Is something that you can always look at. Like I always wonder, like for elementary schools, like why did they serve lunch before recess, before their lunch recess? Because the kids are in such a hurry to get out in the playground. So they just rush through their, instead of like reversing it, but that's me. And then the other thing was when I was on the board last, that's when we opened the campus. It had been closed at the high school. And I know that has impacted food sales for the high school. They're going up to Country Club Gate and getting donuts or whatever. So I don't know. I was going to ask you, is that still, are you attracting the high school kids to stay for lunch or how's that working?
The days where they close campus, we obviously do get more that come through. I wouldn't say that it's a noticeable huge amount, which means they're already coming anyways. Yeah, which is good.
With that, this is awesome to see. We do not have any action to take. It's just direction to keep on doing what you're doing. This is awesome stuff.
So thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you for keeping us updated. Next, we have our superintendent, Dr. Adamson, to present our SRO update.
All right, well, absolutely. So it is my pleasure to introduce the presenter for this presentation this evening. prior to that beginning, really this is the time of year each year that we consider and look at our contract that we currently have with the city, with PG City, particularly PGPD, that really refers to the contract that we have in place for our school resource officer, AKA our beloved Officer Hill. And can I just say before this all begins, it is her birthday tonight and she is here presenting with us. So again, this is another reminder of how awesome she is. So tonight's presentation is really, it's informational in nature. It really is anticipated to really provide a lot of information about the program, in particular, just resources and services that have been given this year. And who better to present that than Officer Hill, who really can speak personally to some of the stories and some of the supports that she's able to provide on each of our school sites. So really at this time, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to her. Officer Hill.
Thank you, Dr. Adamson. I appreciate it. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea, and I am the School Resource Officer for our PGUSD schools. This will be my second year as a School Resource Officer, and my hope is to continue into next year and hopefully many more years to come. Within our department, the School Resource Officer program is a 3-year special assignment. So basically how it works is if you're interested in the program, you have to have a certain amount of years under your belt as well as qualifications, and then you could put in for the special assignment as the school resource officer. Within that 3 years, the contract is up for review with the school district. So that's why I'm here today, is to explain a little bit about the SRO program and what it's all about. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me. The PowerPoint's only 2 hours long, so I should get you out by midnight. I'm just kidding. I'm going to cut the jokes because I know people are like so tired. Basically, and how's my voice? Am I so loud, Lewis? Okay, thank you. Lewis, shout out. He's the tech master. I appreciate it. So I always knew I wanted to be an SRO. Early on in my law enforcement career, I knew right away. It was so odd. I remember being at the academy and the instructors would come up and ask us, they're like, what kind of specialties are you looking to get into? What are your interests? And, you have the classic, like, I want to work narcotics, or I want to work like gang task force or something like that. And they got to me and I'm like, I would like to be a school resource officer. And everyone in the class is like, holy smokes, what the heck? But I knew from the very beginning, it's such a powerful and influential position. And I always knew that going into it. However, I did not know how meaningful it really was until just this last year when I first started the position as a school resource officer. And I learned really quickly. If you don't know, I also, aside from being a school resource officer outside of school hours, I also help out with patrol. I work a lot of patrol calls or overtime or anything like that. But I learned really quickly how meaningful this position was. We responded to an incident that was pretty traumatic and pretty heavy. And myself and another officer arrived at this residence. And as we were walking up to the residence, I remember out of the corner of my eye, I saw a child. And the child was hiding behind a tree. And, I went up to go talk to the adult at the residence, and I just kept peering over, and you could just see the fear and just the unsureness and which is understandable. I mean, you have 2 people in uniforms coming up to you. I'd be nervous too, but you could just see the fear and just the terror in their eyes, so to speak. But as we were talking with the guy, I kept glancing over, and I was like, I recognized that child as one of our students of our school district. So I walked over and I was like, hey, like, how are you? Do you remember me? Do you know who I am? And then just the transition on that child's face just went from so much fear to just the biggest, brightest smile. And the student said yes, and then walked up to me and just gave me the biggest hug ever. And it was at that moment that I was like, holy smokes, this is a lot more beneficial than I could have ever imagined. And I'm not like an emotional person, but after that day, I was like shedding tears on the way home. I was like, man, what's going on? But incidents like that kept happening. And believe it or not, I didn't even think that coming into this job, I didn't even think about the aspect of creating those connections with the kids in the school, and then that relating to outside of the school, because we have such a small, close-knit town that the chances of our students being involved, whether indirectly or directly, probably probably a better chance of that happening. So anyways, I did what I always do. I talked so much, I blacked out and I didn't even read my script. So I'm gonna get back to it. Now that I've talked for 2 hours, let's get to the presentation, shall we? Yeah, so I'm going to go back to my script. It sounds much better. In a small town like ours, so many calls we respond to, whether directly or indirectly, affect our students. Seeing a familiar face where trust has been established changes everything and helps students feel safe. Throughout the entirety of my career as an SRO, I've been on numerous calls for service and welfare checks that were de-escalated quickly due to the rapport that had already been built. And I forgot to mention, we had a handful of welfare checks that I conducted this year outside of school, and I already knew the kids, so it was just that much easier. And one of the first things they say, and there's almost a de-escalation, is like, "Oh my gosh, Officer Hill's at my house," but it's just an easy de-escalation from there. All right, so let's get into it. Thank you, Louis. I appreciate it. Okay, so having an SRO means we have a dedicated officer to the schools. What that means is my main concern and priority is the safety of our schools. So I'm either on one campus, and if I'm not on that campus, I'm on a campus nearby. And I take that very seriously. There's a argument that we can just call 911 and officers can be dispatched. And although you are right, response times may be delayed or they may be on other calls for service. Having an SRO allows for the officer to be embedded into our schools, meaning I know the layout of the schools. And to be honest, I am very protective of the schools and I'm in close vicinity. I'm not even kidding. Like my coworkers are like, let's go eat on Lighthouse. And I was like, no, I can't. It's too far. And so far, all of our exigent incidences that we've had, I've been able to respond in a minute or two or less. So I take serious pride in that and I take great responsibility. So let's see, I won't hit everything. There's a lot of we note on a lot of things a lot of the same things on the PowerPoints, but as an SRO, we also have the option of teaching a safety and education program. Last year, we had DARE. This year, our hope is to implement a new program that aligns with our core values. The new programs are based on like social emotional learning, responsibilities, making good choices, things of that nature. And not only does it teach students curriculum, but it also it gets me in the classrooms. I don't know if I know the middle school principals, and I know you guys have all my DARE kids, but the bond I have with those kids is so much stronger because I'm in the classrooms for an hour a day. It's usually a 10-week program, and it gets you to just meet all the kids and build those relationships. So it's really cool. And then also as an SRO, I get to do all the fun stuff like attend football games, attend bike rodeos. We have the 5th grade camp out coming soon, so I'm looking forward to that. I do community events like the Butterfly Parade, National Night Out, pretty much anything I'm invited to, I'm more than happy to join. So, and also to coaching soccer, Go Boys Soccer. This year I got to help out a bit, so that was pretty fun. All right. The nerves are starting to slow down, so my words are kind of making sense. Thanks for bearing with me, y'all. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the Big Five. This is, I got to stay on the script here. California's standardized emergency response protocols used in our schools. So just a quick definition of everything so everyone's in the loop. Shelter in place is a protocol we use when there are outside environmental factors such as chemical spills or gas leaks or anything like that. Secure campus is for a threat in the vicinity of the schools. Evacuations are used for fires on campus, gas leaks on campus. Drop, cover, and hold is used for earthquakes. And then lockdown barricade is for an active immediate threat on campus. So the reason the SRO position is important in the Big Five is because we act as the bridge between communication between the school and first responders. We make sure that everyone is trained, coordinated, and speaking the same language during emergencies. Our job is to ensure quick, fluid communication and establish a common language. So I know for me, when I was growing up, we just had a simple generic term. It was lockdown. What a lot of first responders don't know now is that lockdown is completely different than a secure campus. So that would be my job, is just going in there and making sure that we're all trained. I trained all of our shifts for our current PD patrol staff. And then not only that, but knowing the whole layout of the school is really important. Because if you tell fire or first responder, like, there's something going on in L Wing or the student union, most oftentimes they're going to be like, what the heck are you talking about? So that's where I would come in. I know the staff, I know the layout of the schools. I'd be like, this is where you need to go, who we need to talk to, and just clear overall. So, yeah. All right, so more about the SRO program. We are there to develop relationships with students, parents, and faculty. We prevent school-based violence, teach students good decision-making school techniques, connect at-risk students with resources and services, and most importantly, I think a lot of a misconception is we are focused on education and not enforcement. So that's the biggest thing. Our job is to serve as a resource for our kids. And by establishing those relationships, we're lucky that we're a small enough district where I, for the most part, know most of our students, or they have seen me around on campus. So developing those relationships are really important, because I'm able to walk down, the hallways and see, if someone's down or acting off. I can ask them, like, hey, how are you doing? And believe it or not, a lot of them just come up to me and just start venting. So yeah, it keeps me busy. All right. All right, next one is data. I'm no Josh Jordan with data, but my numbers are much smaller. So the highest numbers here are obviously the PG High School. The reason that is because that's my hub. That's where I have my SRO office. That's where I type my reports. I do my calls or respond to emails. So I visit the high school campus throughout the day pretty often. As far as the elementary schools go, so last year I was able to split my time between the two elementary schools pretty evenly. This year was a little different. So when we started the school year, there was a lot of traffic related concerns at Robert Down. And these concerns were brought up at the Traffic Safety Commission, as well as by staff and members of our community. So I was assigned to Robert Down for the majority of the school year. So that's why the numbers at Robert Down are a little bit higher than Forest Grove this year. But that doesn't take away that we had as much of our patrol staff helping me out in the mornings. Just because I was at Robert Down, our goal was to try and get an officer at every single school, or at least in the vicinity of the school. So if you see in the morning at drop off and pick up, you see a patrol car around, it's because they're out there. Our main priority is the school. So that is as far as the elementary schools go. And then if we look at a little lower on the data sheet, as far as enforcement, arrests, reports, and FIs, the numbers are consistently low, and that's a good thing. As an SRO, the goal is not to issue tickets or make arrests, but to be present, build relationships, and guide students early on. Low numbers show that our schools are safe and issues are being addressed before they turn into something bigger. So again, we are there as a resource. The fact that these numbers are low means we're doing something right. So. And then in these next slides here, so these are just percentiles of what I do on a daily basis. I spend 30 to 40% of my time building relationships and mentoring. My favorite part, that is literally makes my job so rewarding and so much fun every single day. It's cool really to see the transition with the students. At first, we had a lot of new students this year, or some new students, and same thing happened last year when I first came on. But usually at first the kids are very unsure and they're tentative and they're like, I don't know what to think about you. But it really just takes, like, I kid you not, one basketball game or one bad, terrible dad joke. My jokes are just getting worse, and the kids roast me all the time. But or one tetherball game just to break that ice, and they go from not being very nervous to now they talk so much. I'm almost a distraction. I can't get them to stop talking now, but it is really cool to see that transition. And I feel very, very content when I go home at night. I'm like, I love this job. 20 to 30% of my time is law enforcement and emergency responses. education role, 10 to 20% of my time, I'm participating in schools, classroom education, assemblies, activities. I'm pretty much open to anything. If if staff ask me to, present something, I'll do my best. We'll make it happen. 10 to 15% of my time is spent doing administrative work and planning duties. And then 5 to 10% of my time is community engagement and outreach. So attending community events and meetings to build relationships with parents and local organizations. I also forgot to mention, it says how Officer Hill spends most of her time on the slide before. And I'm like, you guys are gonna think I'm insane. But this PowerPoint I'm not talking in third person. This PowerPoint was collaborative. So shout out to my commander. She made an awesome PowerPoint, but that's why it's in third person. Yeah, I'm not weird, I promise. Maybe a little weird. Yeah, I know. And then other benefits, I'm a part of the safety committee for our district, which is put on by Miss Barbara Martinez. Shout out, that's a great way to interact with the public and address any of our concerns and be transparent with each other. I really look forward to it. Work collaboratively with the district to build a culture of we in which all students feel a strong sense of belonging, safety, and prosperity. I mentioned earlier, assigned to the school, so I know the layout of the campus, which makes for quicker response times and creating bonds with the students and recognizing when they're having struggling or having an off day. Brace yourself for the next one. Sorry. Bam! Also, I didn't make this PowerPoint, so I promise I'm not a narcissist. I was like, any way we can get rid of the 20-inch by 20-inch self-portrait, please? And they're like, no, we're going to keep it. I did the match yourself with an actor and actress, and they matched me with not an actress, but an actor. It was Jacob from Twilight. I was like, nothing screams that more than this photograph. So anyways, I'm sweating bullets now, y'all. It's not going as good as I planned. All right. Anyways, more roles of the SRO, crime prevention and safety education, problem solver, lots of problems all day at the schools. I'm there for the kids, and they are like, if you've ever been with me on a campus, I'll step foot and then they come. All of them fast, and they jump on me. Most importantly for the students, I have stickers. So they're very excited when I come on campus. Teacher, that comes in with like the DARE stuff. And of course, I mentioned last year at the board meeting, I did everything wrong on my educational journey. So now I have the power to help the kids and lead them on the right path. And whether they want it or not, they probably don't want it. But I give them the mom talk and I'm like, hey, this is what you got to do. Save money, go to community college. I say everything, but in sports too, obviously, I try and help our kids with scholarships. And I know we have a lot of good soccer players, so we're going to work on getting them some scholarships. And of course, law enforcement action when necessary. The number one priority in my book, and I take great responsibility, is the safety of our kids. I watch training videos all the time. I just joke a lot, and I don't want people to think like, oh, she just jokes so much. She doesn't take anything serious. I take the safety of our students very, very, very serious. I watch everything training related. I think about it all the time. We go to a lot of like critical incidents to practice with multi-agencies. So I just want you guys to know I take that very seriously. And if I didn't tell you before, I'm a safety committee member. So it's mentioned quite a few times, but anyways, I'm so sorry, you guys. I went off track a little bit. I got nervous, but in a nutshell, this is me speaking from the heart. This program is a lot more beneficial than I could have ever imagined. I think we would be doing a disservice to our community and to our school district if we didn't have an SRO. I think there's so more power than I could ever explain behind this position, in that we are helping so many kids. We are a resource to the students, to the staff, to anyone. I'm pretty much an open book. I know everyone has my work telephone number at least. So if you text message me or whatever for a question, I'll do my best to answer it. And if I don't know, I will try my best to find someone who can help me answer it. So very lucky to be a part of the school district. Thank you all so much. The amount of commitment and dedication that goes into each and every one of our students is incredible. Like, look at this. I have the best therapist in the world. She stayed this late just to watch me struggle through this presentation. So, and Joanna, I appreciate everyone so much. I have so much love for everyone. I have the best job in the world. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. I'll now go out to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak. Going once.
We were debating on if we were going to come together. I'm like, I already talked. You go first, and anyway, yeah. I got the short end. So one of her nicknames is Dr. Dre. And so there's no way we could do so much of the safety work and just so much of the cool work that we get to do on campuses without including her as part of it. I do have the experience of working in close collaboration with Andrea. I keep wanting to say Dr. Dre. I can't do my work without having that kind of link and support to the community. I do come from a background of having worked very closely with law enforcement and mental health in the 20 years I've done clinical social work in my years past. But the collaboration we have is so special on our campuses, and it really helps bring down a lot of the fear, a lot of the bias, it just increases a feeling of belonging on our campuses. And truthfully, also, it's very preventative stuff. It's not stuff that we can always share out and out because it's private information for the people that we work with. But I have seen us be able to tag team in a way that just made it so that it was such a normalizing experience and such a safe experience. And I owe a lot of that to just the collaboration that we have together. I wouldn't, working a full day. When I found out that it's her birthday and she's presenting tonight, I was like, I have to be there. Like, I'm going to be there with you. Like, we're going to be there together. Because if you get to see Officer Hill in person on any of the campuses, it's pure magic. Like hundreds of my son goes to Forest Grove, hundreds of kids just surround Officer Hill. And then when we go to the different high schools, she has a cool group on the periphery of everybody just really trying to connect with her in different ways. And then I get to hear from some of the athletes like, oh, I got to practice with Officer Hill. So really the whole reason I'm making public comment is just to support that. But she says, I hadn't planned to come talk about it, but I hold Officer Hill near and dear to my heart. Also, as a person who came into this district not really being trustful of officer figures in any community setting, just because of my own personal experiences in the past and of being a person of color. I'm just going to call a spade in that way. And she helped me get through some of that, my own self as a therapist of like a million years. And so I just think it's just magic. It's just been super beneficial, and I love the collaboration we have. And I also want to give a shout out to Officer Hanks from years past as well. He was also really awesome in that way. So that's it. I've got 12 seconds, but thank you very much for having.
Thank you so much for the comments. Looks like we have one more in the room.
Okay, she said she drew the short straw, but I think I did because I have to follow her. So I will echo most of what she said. I obviously didn't have some of the personal experiences that she has to speak for, but the beauty of having Officer Hill on campus is the connections she makes so easily and so eloquently with all of the students and the staff and faculty. She walks on the campus, and students that may be struggling and she has to speak to for not always the most positive reasons still show the utmost respect for her and just love being around her, still want to say hello, want to be part of what's happening and connect with her. And I think that's because she's so human to everyone and so just natural that she makes a connection no matter what the reason you've connected with her initially is. She goes above and beyond. Went to a lacrosse game last night. no one else there, just decided she was going to go. I want to support our athletics teams. I want to support our clubs. I want to support our teachers and what they're doing, and just takes the time to do it and do it very well. So thank you, Officer.
Thank you so much. Any other comments? If not, I will come back to the board and start at the end with Trustee Shaw sitting this way.
I saw you at the game too, at the lacrosse game, and I go, huh, is that part of her duties? This is pretty cool. And she was just, communicating with everyone, and we know you have a special touch, and that's so appreciated. And so really the only thing I would want to know from you is there any needs that are not being met? And do you have any suggestions for improvement? You don't have to say now, but at some point, I think it's helpful to get your particular perspective. And, so don't be shy about presenting it to Dr. Adamson or to the rest of the board, because that helps us in, just kind of getting a sense of a perspective that we aren't really hearing maybe. Thank you.
Clerk McNary.
Thank you. It was hilarious and awesome.
Embarrassed.
This is what it feels like every time you open your mouth on a microphone. And you're like, welcome to the party. I'll just start by saying, I think similar to Ms. Cordova, this is tricky for me. If you were not our SRO this year, this would be like not even a question. It's just my life experience and what I know, but I'm like fundamentally opposed to cops in classrooms. I think you are an exceptional human, and we got like the best of the freaking SRO of the crop. And we really do. Like, you are exceptional. And I think also we have a job as we sit up here to look at the contract and to talk about what we're receiving. Like, what are the services we're receiving and what is the cost and how do we evaluate this program? And so what's tricky for me is my understanding is we're going to be paying the same amount or more next year if the contract were to be renewed, that DARE is no longer a part of the contract, which means, like, to me, that was like the educational piece of the contract, and that's no longer there. And so I'm struggling to see like how we continue to pay for the program, and what, if any, other options are worth exploring, because I hear the value of what you provide to our community and what you provide to our kids. And I think there's also some things about this contract that make me very uncomfortable, and the way it's been presented, and that every year we've come back and said, can we get some data? Can we get some logs? And we're not getting that information. So I know I hear praise in this room, but when we talk about all of us, I want to consider also those people who may not see a police officer and feel comforted, or who may not see a police officer in front of their kid's school when they drop them off, think this makes me feel better about dropping my kid off at school. And I just don't think we exist in a bubble. And I think we have to consider like the broader implications and the systematic issues with potentially having police in school or armed police in school. So that may not be a popular opinion, and I understand that. That being said, this in no way means I don't care about the safety or security of our students and our staff and our community at large. I just think it may be time for us to explore what security looks like, what our other options might be, whether that's, my understanding is we continue to have a relationship with PGPD, regardless of if we have an SRO. you will be monitoring our campuses. I imagine at the beginning of school, there would be additional traffic enforcement. The small community environment continues, but I'm just struggling. I think I really am. I'm ready, and I think it's an opportunity for us to look at what our school security could be. We've lost the education component of the contract, which to me probably would be like half the cost, right? Because that was a big part. That was the education piece. And it's tricky for me to keep saying yes when we don't have data and we don't have yearly evaluations and we don't have activity logs. I think I need more to put like $90,000 back into this program. I'm open to other options. Like I said, campus monitors, other ways of looking at security. I mean, we have our safety committee, we continue to explore. We're not the only campus who we can do something without an SRO. I know it. And that's where I'm at. So that kind of got all jumbled up. I'm with you in the presentation skills. Welcome. This is hard. But that's where I'm at for tonight. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just to respond to a couple of, you asked some questions just before President Hazen speaks. I think, the contract itself, you're absolutely right. I mean, we did away with DARE as a part of that contract, last year when we approved. And I think that was based on, just a lot of discussion we had at the dais, the fact that there was a general consensus that it just felt very outdated. And, really we've taken this year as an opportunity to look at different options. We, really, partnered, with CHOMP specifically and some of our, doctors within our own community who've been able to provide, some of those lessons. But, as Officer Hill indicated, I mean, that is, if there was agreement to really, based on some of the research that we've been doing on similar programs that we are considering for adoption for next year, regardless of who it is who's, really instructing that curriculum. If there was that agreement and we were to renew the contract, I mean, that would absolutely be something that would be returned in for the price, that we're paying now. I think what we have been very clear with PGPD, and this is what we'll discuss when the contract comes forward again for that discussion, is that we cannot increase the cost that we are paying currently. So it already would be about, maintaining the amount that we are currently paying. And then we'd have to look and see, what that means. Is it fewer, maybe fewer days, of service throughout the year? But we bring that information, back so that the board, has that ability to make those decisions. So I think that was the first piece. I think the other, you mentioned data, Trustee McNary. So I think, we really have, I think one of the slides is there specific for that. We have the logs. I'd have to connect with PGPD to kind of see a sense of, how we can share that, directly with the board. If that's something that we can, run copies of to, kind of provide to you, I'll confirm that. But we do have, the copies of those as well. But I think, last year I felt, we went into that contract and we made a lot of adjustments, and really it was as a result of, all 5 trustees kind of providing input. We put specific data collection points, into the contract that, that really would provide more of that accountability, for this year. And the way I see that is if that were to be agreed on, we were to continue that contract, we'd have now sort of a base by which to continue that and maybe, add additional data collection. But we have a baseline at this point that we can, use for future measurement. So those are a few of the items, I just wanted to respond to those specifically. Yeah, but thanks for voicing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is an opportunity to just have a conversation about it, and see where we're at. I don't think I was here when we approved the contract last year, but, and I wish we were all here to discuss it. Yeah. But I mean, I'm glad we're having the discussion. So thank you for bringing it, and thank you for bringing it forward.
And I'll just say thank you for the bravery it took to say that. I know that was a hard comment to make, and after such an amazing presentation, plain and simple, but it, does highlight a lot of the issues we face. I mean, I said this last time we presented too, like I am also opposed to SROs, but I couldn't be any more support of you in the role you play in our schools. So it gives me a tough decision every time we discuss this. Something you mentioned the soccer coach, but you're also a ridiculously mean soccer player. And I mean that in a good way, not a bad way. Like you are a hard person to stop from scoring unless you shoot it too high, which happens sometimes. Right. Yeah. But I do want to say at this point, this is where it would be really important to encourage public input, to reach out public and staff input. We've gotten some, but just like this should be a safe space where we gather information on people that are against it and for it. It is really important. The last point on this, and when it does come back, I want to make the suggestion to the district. It is going to be important to see the cost to alternatives. Again, we talked about this, just like the creative solutions. I might make the argument, you talked about the data program, but I might make the argument about traffic. Should that be the role of the SRO? Like the SRO should be a person. I think that traffic might be, should be a person on campus, but the traffic might be something that I would expect the, PGPD to be doing as a daily part of their job anyway. So these kind of creative discussions, and then the alternative is what would the alternatives cost us? Because it is hard for me to see, the ROI, to use a very, an acronym there, but the return on investment to other approaches from what we get from having Officer Hill on campus. And then lastly, just that kind of the integration with the safety plan. We just did a safety audit and review, and I know we talked about community monitors in addition to SROs. So I think we just need to look at this holistically and make sure we are making the right decision with our budget and, with our school sites. But I can't say enough again how appreciated you are on campus and the positive role you have been, for our district. So thank you for that. And again, I think that we gave enough direction here. Thank you for the presentation again. And thank you also for having the support of your commander in the back. It can't be very fun to be standing for this long of the meeting with a very heavy belt on your, and happy birthday again. Oh,
should we sing to you on the?
I almost forgot about Dre.
Oh, what?
All right, 1999. Yeah, some of you old people got that hopefully in their head. I'm an old person. Okay, so with that, we'll go to our next item, and thank you guys again for presenting. This is our Director of MOT, Mr. Anderson.
It's a hard act to follow.
It is.
I think I'm going to kind of bore everybody to death on the way out of here. So what we're presenting tonight is just for information and discussion, is an RFQ that Josh Jorns sent out, one for architectural, and then the other one is actually for construction and project management. So first up is the RFQ for architecture. And what was done is a RFQ was sent out, and we received proposals from people for their qualifications. Committee was formed, and we went over the presented documents. Allow them to leave. Hi, folks. Sorry about that. And so anyways, we came back with very qualified people that we felt met the qualifications that would be important for us to integrate with our new facilities master plan that's coming up. And Josh just wanted me to make sure by the way, he's out running a lacrosse game, right? Go lacrosse. And so what we had was some very good qualified people that, and what we're going to do is we're going to select and hopefully enter a contract with one, and then have basically a group of the first two, and not enter a contract with the second one, but have them for first right of refusal, so that we have a little bit of depth in there. I think the important things to discuss is the fact that without taking this step, once the facilities master plan comes into effect, and especially when Measure B comes along, if we're not prepared to have an architectural firm in place, it's really going to slow the process down. For example, I just recently took over a year to get a set of plans through DSA for the Robert Down fire alarms, which we just basically got about a week and a half ago. And so knowing that process is so lengthy and so involved, having a qualified architectural firm in place now, we could start developing projects ahead of time and be ready so that they're ready to go, essentially shovel ready when we're there with Measure B. So I think you have this in your package, and you've seen it. At this time, I'd like to open it up for questions if there are any.
I think, now we go to public comment. Anyone in the room or online? I'll go to the board, and I might do a quick start on this and just say thank you for the very detailed table with the scoring results. It made it very easy, or at least to view the data. I was going to ask a little bit. You have the experience, like where the companies are based. Did that come into the scoring at all explicitly? I know.
So what we based it on was years of experience, whether they had experience in comparable districts. We also looked at their submitted financials. It was important to us if a firm was not financially secure and their P&L didn't look real good, they're probably not going to do the best for us. We want to see successful people taking on our work. We looked at their experience and their qualifications and their local support. And that is like an architect will have firms that work underneath them to help them maybe with like electrical engineering. There is a firm locally that I've used for years, and I was very happy to see that 2 of these people use that same firm. We want to know that it's someone that understands the needs of our specific district. So that was one of the ranking categories. We also, of course, looked at their fees. A lot of the fees are based on AIA, and so they were slightly comparable, but some were considerably more than others. So we selected ones that were, again, we weren't going to break the budget just to hire the best architect in town. And then we looked at their references based on their past performances and how they charged out their fees based on our budget. So those were the categories that we looked at.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll move down the line, think if I have anything else, but thanks for the detailed presentation. Clerk McNary.
Yeah, I'll echo that and say, I appreciate you sharing with us the thorough and transparent process. This is really clear, the criteria and just who you considered. So I appreciate having the information. Thank you.
So considering firms that have already done work for us, I mean, I'm assuming they get.
Actually, the 2 top choices actually have worked for us in the past.
Okay.
One, the district has a very long history with.
Right. That's what I recognize.
Yeah. And actually, with one of the recent projects, I did use them because since they developed the original plans 15 years ago, they had a lot of pre-knowledge. So therefore, I was able to save money by going with that company because they had the set of plans and everything ready to go and be revised.
Yeah.
So that both those architects are in our pool, what we consider our pool, number 1 and number 2.
That's good. Yeah, because I just from my point of view, that would give them, an extra bounce in their rating just because of that. Unless there was some problems, but
that absolutely helped them score more points in the area that they work, where they were absolutely in tune with the needs of our district. They understand us because they've worked for us before and they're local to the area. So that was very important.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, I think we don't have a motion to make here, but just a direction to move ahead, and we will have this at a future board meeting too.
Yeah, Josh will probably bring it in maybe one of the first board meetings in June.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And I don't think you get to sit down yet because you're up next for our construction RFQ.
And so we did the same RFQ process, but we asked for construction. We had 5 qualifying responses. We did the same process where we looked at the same judgment criteria, and we also selected 2 for a pool in this category of having a construction management firm / project management. And where this comes into play, there's quite a bit of work that I do, and these are for the things that would basically be beyond what I can do, because managing maintenance, operations, transportation, and then manage, like, say, installing a new building, that would probably put a nail in my coffin. So with Josh being as wise as he is, he saw that all the work that's going to be coming up, especially with Measure B, that we definitely had a need. And so this would be a case where we would need a construction management firm in the event that let's say we're going to remove and replace several modulars, and we'd have the architect do the design, and then the management firm would take that out to bid and then manage the project for us.
So thank you so much. I don't have any questions beyond. It looked like a little bit more separation among the groups in the data table, so that was helpful to see too.
And just historical context. After one of the first bond measures passed, and at that time, our assistant superintendent of business thought that he could be the construction manager. and quickly realize that it's too much and you can't. So just, and I'm only bringing that up because you might get criticized for like, why are you spending this extra money going out for this? Can't somebody in-house do it? And it is too much, like you said, and you need the expertise a lot of times that your current, employees may not have. So it's good.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, just it's good that you're recognizing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think for the public's benefit, I think it's important to understand that construction management isn't just like hiring a contractor. There's the finance side of it, the budgeting side of it, tracking all the materials and getting all the RFIs answered. It's a huge involved project. Oriented staff that's involved. So when we hire a firm, we're not just hiring one person to come and be here when the contractor's working. It's all the background stuff that goes on as well.
Yeah. And it's liabilities too. Like
absolutely. Lots of liability. We always want to shield ourselves from that and have people there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well said. And thank you so much for the presentation. I look forward to seeing it again with hopefully a full board the next time. So
thank you so much.
So we're on to our last item, the future agenda items. And this is an opportunity for public comment. If anyone has anything they want to suggest we consider adding at this time, there's also the form online that is something you can do anytime you have a potential agenda item. Seeing nothing, board discussion, there's nothing that pops out to my head that hasn't been mentioned previously, but Trustee Shamas has one, I think.
We'll need to put on an item regarding the update of the policy for TK.
Are you thinking there's something for the policy committee to take on, or
No,
first?
no, I think it was already approved by us, but it was incorrectly delivered to us by Gamut. So what we approved was not understood in a way that we need to understand it.
Got it.
So we will need to just either add some little bit of language to make that adjustment.
Okay. Is that something we can put on?
It has since been updated, the correct one that we approved, right? I think just for whatever reason, like I said to you, when Gamut does their automated updates, sometimes it's happened on a couple of other policies. We've reached out to them and we're hoping that it's been resolved. But currently the one that is posted and the one that's linked on the website, on our kindergarten site, TK site, and then in the board policy site for Gamut specifically is correct, and it reflects the language that it should. If it seems from the board that we just want to bring it back to kind of review and look at the language because of the discussions we're having, we could absolutely do that as well.
Yeah, just because when we approved it or adopted it, we adopted it with looking at that language. So if you now go back and add in corrected language, but you don't bring it before us, then we don't. I mean, it just seems like we didn't really approve that. We approved something that was turning out to be I don't want to say incorrect, but not fully appropriate for us. And I just think it'd be clearer if we bring it forward and okay.
I think safer as well. Yeah, we'll bring it forward and see where we are with it, and if there are any adjustments we need to make to it. Absolutely, I'll bring it forward to the next meeting. Yep.
Maybe the meeting after, if we're super busy on the next one, but we can discuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll add that. Sure.
Thank you. With that, I will go ahead and adjourn us at 9:43. Thank you all for coming, and thanks for all the great discussion tonight or comments tonight.